Okay, we're going live in okay, we're live.
Hello? Hello?
Can you hear him?
Hello?
Hello?
President Obama?
Anyone out there?
What was Apple, Chris?
Where
So
there.
it's all
In front of
far
your
away
face.
from you.
I can't believe you did it. You did it.
I got it.
You did it.
You know.
There's also gummies.
Ooh, I want the
Oh,
gummies.
fucking
I want
gummies.
the gummies.
Damn it.
Fucking gummies.
Is there another gummy?
No, I think that was the last one. There's chocolate.
They ate 2 of them before you even got here.
I was in a gummy mood, but
Sorry.
I'll tell you right now, the gummies weren't very good.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
they were alright.
Dodged a bullet.
Mine
They've
weren't.
probably been around there for a while.
I don't know about mine. Mine were hard, they were sticky, and they just felt like they had gone bad.
Whoa,
Like,
okay, keep it in the bedroom, dude.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
That's what Julian said, Missy.
I said it first.
Sabrina said it.
Okay, just keep an eye on this.
We
It
have
should usually be
proof,
green,
alright? Stop
but
being a
it's
dick.
red, which means it's not the best right now.
Is this the intro? Are they all seeing this right now?
Yeah, they're all seeing this.
probably.
That's good.
You're
Well, it's not
witnessing
on yet.
my
Oh, is
boyfriend
it
being
like?
a
Is there a
dick to
time
me.
delay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a time delay.
Okay, because I.
Sit your ass down.
There should be like a 30-second time delay.
Dude, is that Sailor Moon?
It is, and she's ripping a fat.
Wow, I worked on Sailor Moon.
You did?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that, I'm sure. So,
Really?
yeah, well, both.
Oh, hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Hold on.
Oh, we're off to a great start, ladies and gentlemen.
We can hear ourselves.
I turned it
That's
down.
a super delay. That's like
I know.
2 minutes.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a delay.
My God, that's okay. We're just time traveling right now. This is how it works.
Welcome to the future. Or the past.
Hello. It
Present.
sucks here.
Mm.
Spoiler.
There are no jetpacks.
No jetpacks.
Yeah, no
Certainly
flying
way that
cars.
This thing won't be in my face.
No food and
Yeah,
pills.
Sabrina, it's called.
Or no, do we have that
Yeah.
now? I feel like we have that.
Some
Maybe.
has it.
Who knows?
We got
See
the
if that
Impossible
worked.
Burgers.
It's always in my face.
Well, you always sit right in front of it.
I always dream.
It's supposed to be in my spot.
Mom, Dad, stop.
Sabrina!
Not in front of the dog.
Oh. Well,
Okay.
welcome to the Ass Podcast, everyone.
Are
I'm
we
Nick.
starting now?
I mean, Nick is
okay,
starting
fine.
us.
Yeah, we
Nick is
started
starting
already.
us
You
off.
completely just stole the thunder from him on that.
Hi, Brian.
Wow.
Hey, well, we have
Hello,
Brian
are
today.
we starting?
So we're just gonna introduce ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Sabrina.
Hi, Sabrina.
Hi. Your turn.
I'm Nick. And our
And Brian.
We're skipping over you.
And I figured I'd go last because I'm not typically
I know.
here.
Wait, who are you?
Who's our special guest?
I'm Chris Niosi. Hi, thanks for
Hey.
having me on the Ass Cast.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
beautiful.
I'm the sexy
That's
ass.
a good hyphename.
We got a
Wow.
big view of an ass.
Today we're gonna dive deep into Chris's ass.
Wow, ooh, my God. Oh, really glad I have like thick pants today.
I forgot the gloves, so it's going to be a
Trust me,
little
we
rough.
can get through that.
No lubrication.
Oh God,
Raw.
just the way I like it.
Anthony is so good at this.
Yeah.
Anthony's not here today,
I
and
miss
so we're just gonna totally just screw up this intro.
This is for you, Ant. This is for you.
Bear with us. We think we can
If you watched our podcast, you know how the drill goes. We're gonna find out all about Chris over here and how he got into the animation industry today, and how he got to where he's he's doing, and all this cool ass projects that he's into, and all that. Where is that coming from?
My God, they're not gonna even know you're talking. They're gonna be like, is she insane? What's happening right now?
But yeah, usually we'd have Ant right now saying, we're going to talk about the mountains you had to climb and the rivers you had to jump
Yeah,
through.
all those things that I absolutely did.
Yeah.
Really.
Basically World War II of
all the
animation.
hiking
totally,
he had
totally.
to do to get to where he is
Yeah.
today.
I mean, some people would say that. Other people are like, "What are you doing again? who are you again?" I mean, it depends on who you ask, but yeah. I do one too many things. I animate, I write, I direct, I voice act, I develop, I design, and I have my hands in a lot of creative pies, and I'm very lucky that I get to do all of those things and not go completely insane, or so they say. So,
And make a living off of it.
Yeah, even which is that's the dream,
Yeah,
you'd think,
right?
and not easy to do. So I'm very grateful that I get to do that. But yeah, there's a lot.
Good.
There's a lot of
We're gonna
things.
find out all about it.
Okay.
But our first question
Ah.
that we always start off with, I think,
Ah.
is what is your very first animation memory?
Oh wow. I would say feasibly some classic Looney Tunes. I grew up in, I was born in '88, and I grew up in a time where Looney Tunes were being rerun on virtually every channel placed in front of me. There was a time where they were on Nickelodeon,
Yes.
Okay.
early '90s.
It's like Friends.
Yeah, they were always, obviously they were on WB and Cartoon Network a lot by proxy. And I can vividly remember Bugs and Daffy and Taz and Elmer and all the classics like just immediately being introduced to me. And
Who's your favorite?
Taz
Oh,
is
Taz.
actually he's my favorite. He knows. And I love Tasmania. Tasmania is like kind of the underrated like
That was
bastard stepchild of that era.
That
of
was
like
89, 90.
yeah. Because it wasn't one of the Spielberg produced ones, but it was
right
that
before,
era.
yeah.
Yeah. I love that series. Yeah, I still love Taz. Obviously, all the Disney Golden Age era stuff. I was right when Lion King first came out, and like all children, was obsessed with it. And a lot of Looney Tunes, and also actually the Spielberg era Tiny Toon stuff, like right when that was coming out, and a lot of Disney stuff. Yeah, early little babby 3-4-year-old me. I can remember that far back.
Now I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but like, did any of those also inspire you? Because I know you did animation.
Mm-hmm.
You do animation, but like, did any of that also inspire you to do voices?
You know what? No. Believe it or not, it was the anime stuff specifically that made me a little more. I mean, I certainly knew what voice actors were from, speaking of Disney stuff, they'd have like little behind the scenes featurettes, and even kids with no concept of how cartoons and movies are made knew that Robin Williams was the voice of the genie.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, actually, that was
That
one
was
I
a
think
big
that
thing.
just universally people just understood, like, oh, he's the actor and he portrays him, and then they draw the character. I think that a lot of people had some understanding of voiceover in animation just kind of through that character, and Robin being, rest in peace to him, he's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the anime stuff specifically. This would have been like very late '90s, maybe early 2000s, when I kind of took an interest in like finding more out about that, and a lot of the guys at Funimation, several of which now I've gotten to work with, some of which I've become friends with, which is crazy to me. People that worked on Dragon Ball and like Yu Yu Hakusho, Fullmetal Alchemist, a lot of that stuff. And I had no idea I was going to get into that kind of realm either, but 10, 15 years later now. Like,
Is there a specific? Sorry if we keep holding up papers whenever we ask a question. That's something for Nick to deal with later for editing.
It's a visual cue.
Question is, do you have a very specific show where you started questioning the profession itself and everything?
Yes, I remember exactly what it was. It was Yu Yu Hakusho, and a great pioneer of the anime industry, a man named Justin Cook, who directed, produced, and starred, but all kind of by circumstance, the main character of Yu Yu Hakusho. He was Yusuke Urameshi. Hey, Kuwabara, you're conscious. I'm not used to that. I remember seeing that character, and I'm like, he's so cool. And I was beginning to learn about like just the whole process and what everything that went into voiceover production for cartoons and video games and anime, which is a whole different kind of thing because
I
it's
noticed
dubbing.
video games and anime, they like use a lot of the same actors.
Yeah, and now cartoons too.
Yeah.
People, Troy Baker, who's like a superstar in video games, and he's in tons of and Matt Mercer. They're in tons of original animation shows. Troy is like, God, he's Loki and Hawkeye. Steve Bloom.
Yes.
All the Matt Mercer, Troy Baker, and Steve Bloom all started in anime dubs.
Yes.
And now they're like huge in every like major cartoon and video game as well. It's like, oh my god.
And just to give people like some context on how like the guerrilla world of like early Japanese animation dubbing was in this country, especially in the early '90s and through, was like basically the fact that Justin Cook had his hands in everything. Was like you couldn't just be like an actor. Actress.
Well, he booked the part of Yusuke by circumstance. It was just because they couldn't find someone that was quite fitting, and
he's like, I'm here.
Yeah, and the producer above him said, you give it a shot, and then he ended up being right for it. And because he loved the show, he actually watched the entire series. A little bit of trivia, anybody out there, if you're a Yu Yu Hakusho fan, Justin Cook watched the entire show in Japanese twice, all 112 episodes, I think, before starting on the dub. And that is a dub made with tons of love, and then I later learned that between his work on that show and Fruits Basket, which has just come back, a new Fruits Basket series.
What?
He directed that show as well, And that was the show that changed.
Voice directing.
Yeah, and he's also the voice of I forget the character's name, but the cow guy with like the kind of half white and black hair.
Oh, he was my.
Yeah. He was Yusuke as well, and he directed the dub for Fruits Basket, and the dub of that show completely changed the entire like system of what worked at Funimation, because suddenly they went from Dragon Ball stuff where at the time it was very watered down and censored stuff. No, even when they were doing it in Texas, it was very like, we gotta make it good for the 10-year-olds kind of thing. But then Fruits Basket was like, no, let's like do this properly, like really adapt it from the Japanese and etc.
Like nerd out and ask what's the new Fruits Basket?
There's just a new Fruits Basket series. Like it's a reboot.
Are they it's a reboot.
And they're starting over, and they're gonna do the rest of where the manga.
Oh,
left
so
off,
is
too.
it kind of like the whole like Fullmetal Alchemist deal where they
Kind of, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Oh,
it looks
that's so
beautiful.
awesome.
Yeah, the first couple episodes they're on Funimation streaming service.
Oh
Go
my God,
check them out.
I'm
So
so
yeah, they're great. It looks beautiful too.
I was upset. I read all of the manga.
It's a good show. Yeah, Fruits Basket's awesome. Yeah, and Fruits Basket and Yu Yu Hakusho were right around the same time. This was like 2000, early 2000s. But yeah, Yu Yu Hakusho was like the show that like really made me think about it, and then like, separately from that, then I'm like, oh, now I'm doing this for a profession.
Because
That's
you're right.
awesome.
Not early. Well, after the Ocean dub, Dragon Balls, when they came back, they were still doing the whole thing where they would add extra dialogue or change the dialogue to make it more quote unquote appropriate for American audience. And you're right. Yu Yu Hakusho had little of that.
Yeah.
It felt like you were literally just watching what you wanted to watch, like a straight dub of what
Yeah, I mean, they certainly, there were liberties taken, and I think as far as the humor goes.
Yeah, but they toned that a lot.
Yeah, but a lot of it was, I mean, the actual story was the story,
Sure.
which was the main thing, and I fell in love. I still go back and rewatch that show once every few years because it's brilliant. It's still one of my favorite shonen anime, like hands down. And actually, it's still not even just the voiceover side too, but on the animation and storytelling side, Yu Yu Hakusho and Dragon Ball, a lot of the shonen stuff, Shonen Jump stuff in particular, like really inspired me a lot throughout the early to mid 2000s.
In your work.
Yeah, like all across the board. Yeah, both like the stories that I was writing, my drawing style, my acting, wanting to get into it in the first place, and everything. And now, like, I've gotten to kind of integrate those things firsthand in the stuff that I make and the stuff that I do. So
this is a random question, just because you mentioned Shonen Jump. Did you ever get into Black Cat?
No, I missed out on Black Cat. I know of it.
I've read it.
I think I saw a couple episodes of the series, but yeah, that was one I kind of missed the boat on, unfortunately.
Okay, I just wanted to ask because not a lot of people talk about that anime.
Yeah, it's kind of a sleeper.
It's exactly like it's kind of like Trigun actually.
Yeah, a little bit.
The archetypes and everything. Anyways,
for sure.
You're gonna ask?
Well, so I wanted to go into voice acting, and you started off as an independent creator, right?
Can we go? Yeah, can I ask about your school years?
Like
your
sure.
Younger years.
Yeah.
So like when I don't know, either elementary or middle school or high school, wherever the earliest it was, did you have any classes in school that contributed or helped towards your skill at all?
Yes. I give major credit to a lovely gentleman named Anthony Klinger-Cooley, who was, he will probably never see this, but if you're out there, Mr. Cooley, love you, you're excellent. Me and several friends of mine, including some folks that you know, Mike Lucas, Zach Bellissimo, we all went to high school together in Northport, and not a very high IQ of a school, I'll put it that way. Long Island, it was not luxurious, but I had some lovely teachers, and Mr. Cooley was he was an art teacher, and he ran a comic book illustration class.
Oh wow!
And I knew pretty early on that comics was not the path that I wanted to go on, but it was an art class that just really allowed for a lot of creative freedom. And kind of in tandem with that, the thing that I kind of really started to do on my own, even just outside of school, but during those years, is I discovered Newgrounds. And for those of you who don't know, I'm sure a lot of people probably do, but Newgrounds is a site that it still exists too. Some people think like, where did it go, or whatever. It still exists. Newgrounds is a site that is basically an open creative portal. It predates YouTube by many years. It was like late 90s, I believe.
Yeah, 98, 97.
From a guy named Tom Fulp who lives out in Philly. Shout out to you, Tom. Love you. You're awesome too. Shout outs to everybody ever, forever. But it was an open portal for animation, games, music, art, everything ever. And I saw a lot of old Flash cartoons. I found Homestar Runner, of course, as well. and then kind of discovered Newgrounds and all of the, we'll say, more adult type things on there and otherwise. But I was like, I kind of want to get into doing animation. And originally, this is the crazy thing, is I actually, speaking of classes too, I took a class at a computer learning center in like Green Lawn, New York or something, and back in Long Island. And I learned, I wanted to learn how to program. I wanted to make games. And so I picked up a copy of Flash when it was still Macromedia Flash, so that long ago. And I tried to learn ActionScript, which was the programming language of Flash. Realized very quickly, wow, I hate this, but I love making movies. I used to make like weird little faux, I used huge quotation marks, cartoons in like PowerPoint.
Oh.
So this is like better and easier to do things. So then I learned how to make movies in Flash, and then started putting stuff up on the Newgrounds portal, and had some things that were blammed off there, and then a couple things that did well. Had a couple hits on there that went semi-viral at the time, and had some other more experimentally, story type of stuff. There's a very early primordial version of Tone, which is the thing I'm known for these days, a web series I did a couple years ago that I'm now making into a video game all this time later. It was an early version of that was on there. I did like 70-something episodes, like full episodes with like text and characters moving around and everything.
Wow.
So I did a lot of that throughout high school and definitely moving into college. And I went to the School of Visual Arts from 2007 to 2011. I was 2 years behind Rebecca Sugar. And she was my TA in, I believe, my sophomore year. She was a senior, and she was my TA, and she was brilliant even all the way back then. She was absolutely brilliant. And also, funnily enough, Ian Cordy, creator of OKKO.
Which is also
her husband, yeah. And he taught a substitute class one year, I think in my senior year. So I got to know them a little bit, by circumstance.
Were they dating already?
I think yeah, I believe so. Yeah, wow. They'd known each other for a while certainly, and
that's cool.
Yeah, and I think there were probably a few other people in the years ahead of me. Oh, and actually, this is a funny one. Vivian Medrano, who's known as Vivzy Pop, creator of Has Been Hotel. She was a freshman when I was a senior, and she is like massively successful now, and I'm so proud of how far she's come, and like she's built a whole empire off of not empire, but like she's really built a huge following off of her work and Has Been Hotel and everything, which is amazing. Oh yeah, she's awesome, man. Vivian's great.
Shout out.
Stuff. A lot of shout outs today, a lot of that. So
where's the college School of Visual Arts?
New York City.
Okay.
Yeah, right on 23rd Street. Lived right around there. Funnily enough, you'll appreciate this. I found out I only ever had one audition when my voiceover stuff started, because that was when I was in college in New York. I went, so the School of Visual Arts main building was right on 23rd Street, downtown in New York, and I would often go there, and then my dorm building was not far, and then there was another building kind of across town on the same street, and I realized I went back and forth past 4 kids like 7,000 times in all the years that I went to school.
You didn't know it was there.
And I didn't know, because I had one audition for Yu-Gi-Oh! After college, and I didn't get it, but I was like, I've been passing by here like 1,000 times for the last 4 years, and I had no idea this is where they do Yu-Gi-Oh!
A lot of offices like that are always like in the cut, like they advertise on the top of the building.
Crazy.
That was insane, but SVA was, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is still going. It's on like the 6th version of it now, I think.
Did you have to apply and like get accepted into college and everything?
Yeah, I did an application process and an interview with somebody, and I believe I showed them my online works at the time.
So you were doing this before college?
Oh yeah. I the stuff that I was known for pre-college was my big sort of viral hit was this thing called the Super Freaking Parody Rangers, which was entirely capitalizing on that there was no other than like the Mighty Mosh and Emo Rangers, which was on like MySpace or something, like early MySpace. That was Parody Rangers was the big thing I was known for on Newgrounds, like 2006 or 7. And then when I went to college, then I started getting known for all of the Nintendo like video game parodies and things I was doing in that time. And actually, right before I graduated high school, I did this music video that went viral in Japan. It was a Super Mario RPG for the Super Nintendo. It was a music video. It was a song I found. It was like a remix of the Forest level music, and somebody like wrote like a rap over it. It was really cool, and I was like, I want to like do an animation of this. So in like a week, it was my senior high school year project for like my animation class, which was just an excuse to like get free credit because it was I'm already doing this, whatever. I made that music video, and then I found out like way later it went like super viral on a site called Nico Nico Doga. Which is basically like it's like Japanese YouTube.
I think I've nerded
That's
out over you about that. Because I remember that video. I was working at the time I saw.
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah. That was 2007. I
Right.
did that. I'm very proud still of that because I love that game like to death. So
That's crazy.
Yeah. a lot of that stuff. Even that's over 10 years ago.
So, I don't know. Should I ask what your college experience is like?
It was fun. I mean, there's not much to say in terms of telling the story or anything. I mean, it was fun. Like, SVA has kind of a half and half rep with some people. I had in college. You guys know this. It's kind of whatever you make it.
Sure.
You know.
We've had discussions.
Yeah. I certainly wish that I spent probably less time on. Even though I really enjoyed making my own stuff, and I continue to make my own stuff all throughout all 4 years of college. I certainly wish that in retrospect I went back and I worked more on my craft more so than creating stuff, because I learned pretty early on that I needed to move to LA to work in the business. There are very, very few animation studios left in New York at this point that do much of anything. There's like Bill Clinton. There's I don't even know if Little Airplane's still around. There's
I
Titmouse.
think if you're on the East Coast, it's all in Atlanta, right?
There's some stuff in Atlanta too. I mean, New York, it used to be like the place.
Yeah.
There was tons of stuff, but it just all kind of dried up for a while, which is unfortunate. But yeah,
New York and
It
Boston.
used to be really big with
Yeah.
illustrations back in the day too. It had like
comic,
strips-
yeah,
comic strips
absolutely.
used to be huge,
Yeah.
and then like you'd watch old movies and there'd be like there was this old movie with this comic strip illustrator, and he had like a huge loft and
Yeah.
and then just their whole industry just plummeted and
Yeah,
Well,
everything moved out here.
Yeah, everything moved out here in the Marvel finally moved out here, but DC brought a lot of their stuff out here in the early 2000s.
I knew relatively early on. I think probably by the time I just got to college, I knew that I had to eventually wind up here.
So when did you take the plunge and come to LA?
Yeah, what was your first gig like? What was the first foot in the door like?
As far as like an actual job, well, in college I did a lot of freelance, various music videos and like presentations at like libraries, little things like that. And then I worked on a film that one of my teacher's friends was creating. It was called it was called The Lift. It was by Robert Core. If you ever look it up, I think it's probably online somewhere. It was really cool, and it did a lot of coloring, maybe some in-betweens, I think, on that, and that was a lot of fun.
Feature film? Feature length?
No, it was a short. It was like an animation festival,
Got
short
it.
film. It's about a girl who doesn't hold an elevator open for an old man, and then she dreams how bad a person she is. So I worked on that, and then I was actually just reminded of this because there was a couple days ago on Twitter there was a hashtag #MyFirstGameJob thing. And my first freelance job out of college was on a video game. I got to do some animation for Skullgirls. And so this is cool. So I met a couple artists that worked on Skullgirls, I think, prior to working on
I
it.
knew what's his face from DeviantArt.
Tyson?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's right. I knew Tyson Hess.
I thought that was a joke.
Yeah, no,
I knew, what's his face
I used to be. I'm not even going to name it because it hurts too much. But there was a comic kind of amalgamate site that myself and Tyson Hess used to be part of, and I put my Flash cartoons in there, and he was doing boxer hockey at the time, way back. And then his now wife, Mariel Cartwright, Kino Cakes, she became the animation director for Skullgirls because she's tight with Alex Ahad and Mike Z and all them. And so they were hiring like hundreds and hundreds of cleanup animation folks and rough animators. And I remember, originally I applied to be a cleanup animator because I felt that my animation wasn't good enough to be accepted. And I applied and they said, hey, we don't think that your cleanup is very good. However, we saw your film and we think that your animation would be a better fit when you test for animation. I was like,
you never know.
and I even was like, are you sure? Like, and they were even like, okay, here are our notes on your cleanup stuff, and they were brutally honest, as they should be. And they said, but again, we really would love for you to apply for animation. And I'm like, all right. So I did, and I got it, and then I got to work on. If any of you guys have played the game, I did some stuff for Misfortune, Painwheel, a little bit of Parasol and Valentine, I believe. And so we got to work with the initial the very rough stuff that Mariel came up with, and then we animated everything from there. And that was a ton of fun. I loved getting to do that. Now, of course, they're making Indivisible, their new game, which much love to them. They're all great people, all the Lab Zero guys. And but yeah, that was my first job out of school was doing that for Skullgirls. So.
Okay. And all you had to do was just apply.
Yeah. Just they were taking open applications from anybody, and I did my best. And I remember, I do owe to, and I've told him this. There was another guy, Ryan Miller. He goes by Artil, really talented animator from Seattle, I believe. And he put up his original test and it was the same animation test they were giving people. I think it was like Thelia's low sweet kick or something. And I studied the shit out of his animation to really get a sense of, and it was really helpful actually, that and doing the job, because now working on the video game that I'm making, I know exactly how to do video game style, especially 2D, from the side kind of things, animation assets. I have all that experience now of knowing exactly how to make it work. So I'm very thankful for that, because in the long run it was so helpful. So.
Okay. So from that job point, on forward, how was each project, how did you jump from each project, and what were the projects?
Well, I wanted to move out here, and it was still a while. I had to save up money. I had to build up some kind of reputation for myself, because
I hate
well no, because here's the thing. First of all, I wasn't living here yet, but also I couldn't get a job.
Yeah.
I could not get a job in New York at animation studios. It was too late to get an internship because I wasn't in school anymore. And there were very precious few places, and I wasn't at a competitive skill level enough to do it. So freelance was the only option I had in terms of making money doing that stuff. My voiceover career had only just minorly started. My first thing I did was Pokemon. I did 5 episodes of Pokemon, which was awesome. And I did that in very tail end of 2009. Not even thinking it was going to be anything more than that, and then I ended up getting more work since then, which was great. And
was it after the original? What is it? How many?
150.
Oh yeah. I did
Exactly.
season 10.
Okay.
I did when it was Diamond and Pearl was the
Okay.
generation at the time. Yeah.
Okay.
And that was a ton
That's
of fun.
still
So,
cool.
oh yeah. That was my very first voiceover.
Back
job
at
was
4
Pokemon.
Kids.
No, it was actually after 4 Kids.
Ah.
It was because 4 Kids lost the license in 2006.
Okay.
And Pokemon Company decided to move it to a different studio in New York.
Okay.
So I came in and I played a character named Corey, whose entire existence was to promote the Gold and Silver remake on the DS, which was great because I love Gold and
product
Silver.
placement.
Pretty much, yeah. He was like, "Here's 2 characters from Johto. They're gonna travel with Ash and the gang, and then literally right after my last episode here, Heart Gold and Soul Silver is available and now vying for the Nintendo DS." And I'm like,
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was great.
Just I'm out.
Yeah, I had my fun though. That was amazing. Just side note about this, I got to do all the tropes. I did all the catchphrases. I fought a battle with Team Rocket. I got to catch a Pokemon. I fought Ash. It was great. It was pretty awesome.
So my question about that is, how did you land that job, and was there any did you have to have a demo reel or something like that of your voice work?
Well, so I went to a convention. It was the New York Anime Fest, which no longer exists. It got eaten by Comic-Con. The voice director at the time, a guy named Tom Wayland, and Michael Center Nicholas, who's the voice of Dee Venture on Venture Brothers, and he directs a lot of anime stuff. They were holding this contest, and I went in and entered. And this actor, Jamie McGonigal, who was one of the actors on Pokemon during that season, whispered to Tom, bring that kid up. And so I went up and I did a monologue, and then I had to improv, and then I had to.
Did you memorize it?
No, I had it in front of me. They didn't.
Oh, okay.
And then we had to dub to a scene, actually dub a scene from an anime, the way that they would do it in studio.
Yeah.
And I won this contest, and then as a result of that, I got to audition for Pokemon, and it wasn't until I think over a full year later that I actually booked a role. which I was glad about, that I had to audition and then earn the real job myself. It wasn't just handed to me.
Well, yeah. You got a little taste of what it was like.
Yeah. So I auditioned for another character before that, and then I booked Corey, and then that was my first job, and then I started to get some more opportunities for some indie games and a couple other, the very few other precious anime things that would happen in New York here and there, and yeah, so and then I started to take it a little bit more seriously in terms of, okay, I think I'm actually going to do this like more. So I made a demo, and I started like doing a lot more research about what it really takes to work in that business. And now, like, because it's the thing that pays my bills more than anything else, I really take it seriously. And I've gotten to do a lot more since when I was in New York, because there's also little voiceover in New York, much like there's very little animation in New York.
Yes.
So there used to be a lot, but not so much.
Was each of your job opportunities in the voice acting world mostly like word of mouth, where you were like kind of recommended?
Yeah, that's often how it tends to be. Is I had some people in my corner that would put my name forward to people. I remember the guy where Michael Center Nicholas directed. I was recommended by a friend, Lucian Dodge. They were working on this one anime that tragically was very shortly canceled. It was called Bakuman. It was by the creators of Death Note.
I know Bakuman.
No, you're probably thinking of Bakugan.
No, I think I watched
Bakuman is the one about the artist and the writer, and they want to become artists.
I've seen it.
They want to work for. Oh, okay, good. Everybody always thinks it's Bakugan, which is the toy Beyblade type one or whatever. But
I mean, I know that one.
It's
too,
a manga too, right?
yeah.
Manga's the
I read the whole manga.
Yeah, I love
I
that series.
They sold those fucking tops.
Pretty much, yeah.
But everybody loves toys. It's okay.
No, they were fun. I played with them.
Bakuman was like the second anime I ever did, and it was so like they had like no time, so they just autocast everybody. And Lucian recommended me for a character, and I played one of the editors on that. We did 13 episodes, and only 7 came out. It was real sad. I love that series so much. I wish it would have taken off, but there were like. It was a complicated whole
You know, I actually
thing,
heard
so.
that series was actually based on the artists, because it was an artist-writer duo.
Yeah, it was the Death Note guys. Yeah,
But, But what I think it was, the author was an unknown author, and so he was basing it on himself, like the whole.
Yeah, it's very clearly their journey, and the other characters in the other artists are very clearly like, that's the Bleach guy, that's the Naruto guy, etc. And it's like, oh, okay, I see, right, it's the Gintama guy, etc. I'm like, it's pretty cute. If you guys have not seen Bakuman before, Bakuman. The manga, the whole thing is available from Viz. Go watch. Especially if you're an artist, which I'm sure a lot of you watching this are, it will inspire you. Like seriously, it's out of this world.
I think my favorite character there was the one guy who had the Otter series.
Yeah.
That was
the really
hilarious.
weird dude. I think he's based on the guy who created Gintama. I think, because the other kid who's like whatever, he's like. Doing weird stuff. Supposedly he's the Naruto guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I could be totally wrong about that. I who knows?
That'd be funny.
Yeah. Either way.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, I had a lot of recommendations from folks, and even when I came here, I owe basically my entire career to Ben Diskin, who is number 1 and number 2 on Codename Kids Next Door. Shout out. He's one of my best friends, and Mona Marshall, who is like. Half the female characters on South Park, and she's Izzy on Digimon and tons of other stuff. The two of them got me in pretty much every place that I was working in the beginning, and Mona got me with my agency that I've been with now for 3 years. And
did you do any work with Digimon?
No, I missed out on Digimon because Fusion was before my time when I got here, and Digimon Tri was mostly reprisals of the original characters, and I think I wasn't in with that studio yet at the time.
So as a voice actor, you signed it with an agency, and
yeah,
and is that like a normal thing with voice actors? Is eventually you sign with an agency?
Yeah, well, it's part of the path often, but it's hard. It takes time. I didn't sign with my agency, I think until about 2.5 years into living here, and it was made more easy when I had to join the union, which was because I was offered to work on OKKO on Cartoon Network by Ian Cordy, who just brought me onto the show, and so I had to join SAG, and then because I was part of the union, it made it easier for then Mona Marshall to recommend me to our agent, Arlene Thornton, who I've been with since then. And so that all worked out. That was the beginning of 2016 for me. All that hit me at once, and I was like, okay, well, cool. So it was nice.
I have a question.
Sure.
With So say somebody today comes up to you and wants to know like what's the process of becoming a voice actor nowadays.
What would you tell?
What's the first thing that you would tell them?
I mean, God, there's so many different ways to go about it. I mean, like the crazy thing is like what I relate a little bit to guys like Eric Bauza and such is like I didn't
He's
start
on this
as
podcast.
he is awesome.
Yeah.
He's the nicest human being on God's green earth. Like he was an animator first, and then became a voice actor kind of by proxy through there. You know, I don't have a traditional acting background. I never did theater or radio or any of that kind of stuff. You know, I just studied. I really, really, really studied that because that aspect of creating animation and making my own stuff was really fun to me and really intriguing to me. So I would listen to stuff like Talking Tunes, Rob Paulson, and voice print with Trevor Duvall and guests, which was with all the Ocean, Vancouver
These are good
voice
sources.
actors.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, and so a lot of that and a lot of panels and cons. You know, really paying attention to what they're. And I started taking classes, of course, when I moved here, which was a huge thing. I took Richard Horvitz's class. Richard Horvitz is the voice of Vader Zim and Daggett on Angry Beavers.
Where can you find these classes?
Richard Horvitz voiceover class. If you just Google that, you'll find the website
I think
for it.
his is online. It's
Yeah.
not like out of school.
Yeah, well, he does do it in person at a facility, but I believe he also does online coaching for people that don't live here too.
I see.
And Bob Bergen is another great, amazing teacher, and Bill Holmes, two other people like that. Classes are so helpful because even if you're not inherently like an actor, like I do theater and all that or whatever. Like if you learn, you can do it. You know. So, and my litmus test is always there's a great website. It's iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. It was written by Dee Bradley Baker. Who's one of the best voiceover actors in the world.
Oh, I've seen him.
Yeah, you've heard him. Everybody's heard
I've
him in
seen him
everything
too.
ever. Yeah. I have not had the pleasure of meeting him. I really want to.
I think
Oh, really?
Because he is an idol.
If you guys saw it, I may have seen him on Uncle Grandpa.
Yeah, he was on that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she
Yeah,
was.
because
Yeah.
I got to go in on a few records before.
Mm. Yeah. He wrote everything on that website, and it's so helpful. And it's like the litmus test of like, if you read through all of that and you still want to be an actor, then you start diving into it. But if you read through all that and you're just like, oh, this sounds hard, then it's like, okay, maybe then it might not be for you.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I can also potentially recommend if you want to kind of break into the animation industry, that doing voice acting, being in production might help as well. Like a production assistant or a coordinator that helps with scripts and doing voiceovers. Because
or get a show picked up and then be the main character, because how often that happens these days.
Because I remember when I was a production assistant, even an intern too, on Adventure Time, they had me do circle takes for the voiceovers and everything, and then every now and then they would need like an extra voice, and they almost asked me to do a voice or two, like a random voice, but they said like since I wasn't SAG, the whole union thing became a thing at some point, then they said that they couldn't do it. So that is a good way, and then also you can learn what's required of you on the other side of the booth. Like learning how to do circle takes was really, really cool, and if I ever wanted to do voice acting, I was like, oh, so this is how it's done.
I will to add to that as well. Yes, there are definitely. I mean, like, you know, Pixar. There's a ton of like very major characters in Pixar movies that are played by just people that work in house, producers and animators and directors, etc. But that's also very clearly like circumstantial. Like you're not going to hear like, you know, did Joe Ranch did he pass away?
He died.
Oh, that's right. But like, or I don't know, Pete Docter, or what's the guy who played Doug, and he was Roz and Mike Wazowski, that character. Yeah, I think he was a producer. Like, which is great. And you know, they're in movies, but you're also not going to hear them like, and now I'm going to go work on this other this Cartoon Network show or this video game or whatever. It's circumstantial.
Is feature super. Like different compared to the television.
Well, it's not so much that whether it's feature versus otherwise. It's more so just like they're doing voices for those things because they're making those movies. They're doing often that tends to happen with also creator-driven shows where like, well, I just want this other show creator. I mean, like, you know, Gravity Falls had like, you know, Thurup was in it, and like the guy who created I think Black Show was in it. some other guys like that as cameos.
Certain artists.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
we had Alex Hirsch.
What's
Right.
Jackie Buscarino? Like she's a producer,
She's
right? But
a
she's in like a bunch of shows now too, you know.
Yeah.
But
Because
that's,
she knows those.
yeah, and that's not to I mean
It's like
she's
for
good.
I'm
yeah.
just kind of throwing it out there, like for networking purposes.
Sure, yeah.
Like,
That can by osmosis sometimes that tends to happen.
I mean, I would just buttress that to just say get in the industry any way you can.
Yeah, for sure.
Production's always like a good. I always recommend production for people just because you learn the ropes of animation anyways.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like that's a good entry level position too because it's like production is more like you're helping the show out. On the other end of things, it's not so much of the artwork. It's more of like organizational stuff.
Yeah.
And it tends to be a job that most people can do, and then you kind of learn and branch out from there if you want to get a job in anything else.
Well, this is the interesting thing, and you guys both remind me. This is a major factor in what it is that I do now. When I moved here, I also couldn't get a job in the animation industry. I still don't have one. I've been here for 5 years, and I mean, look, to be real, like, I wasn't, and probably arguably still am not at a competitive enough level to be doing storyboarding or character design or writing or what have you. I'm good enough to do my own stuff, and I continue to do my own stuff. But, and I tried. There was one year when I was doing like some extra films and you were helping me out with some revisions on things. I was really like, I'm in training mode this year. I'm not going to make stuff. If anything that I make that's new will be expressly for portfolio purposes. And I'm really going to try to hone my craft and read all these books about storyboarding and design and whatever. And it just wasn't happening. So, and like, I got to a point where I'm like, all right, well then I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, which is, I eventually found a career for myself in voiceover that was remaining consistent, and then I went back to making my own stuff. But now, because of the foot that I've had in the door through otherwise, and including voiceover, I've gotten to meet very many friends of ours as a result of that, and and now I've had some opportunities where people were like, yeah, but you made a show, like you made a whole show and put it on the internet with Tome and everything, like. Which I didn't even talk much about Tome. I'm sure we'll get into that at some point. But now I've had some opportunities where it's like, oh no, you can do this stuff too. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because and much like with the how did you get into this, how did you get into that? It's just people, not even just people that recommend you. It's people who believe in you and people who have your back and will go to bat for you when an opportunity comes up. That's really what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's making connections. That also goes back to my point. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, don't be a dick and make authentic connections.
Yeah.
Hey, nice to meet you. I want a job.
It's really, it's friends.
Yeah.
It's you make friends, like genuine friends, and then when they are, and here's the other thing too is like, I've had friends in the industry for way longer than was ever even moving here, and I don't beg and plead or whatever because it's like, well, if I was ready and if they knew I was right for something, then they would put me forward or otherwise, and
and I'm sure they do too.
Yeah, and then sometimes it doesn't always necessarily mean like you're definitely going to get a job doing whatever, because there's 1,000 people in the world that want to do this, and they all live here, so
they're moving.
I remember I heard a story from this great actor Trevor Duvall, who I learned so much from. He's the voice of Rocket Raccoon and all the Marvel animated stuff right now. He mentioned when he moved to Vancouver, which was a huge center for voiceover and cartoons, and he moved there from Edmonton, and he mentioned like, if I can't get a job in the industry within a year, I'm moving back home and digging ditches in Edmonton. And then he learned really quickly from people, it's like, well, sometimes it's a year before you even know anybody in the center that you've moved to, and it's like, so if you come out here or any place you want to move to where it's a big entertainment center, you move out to that place and you already have connections and those friends and people that will go to bat for you and believe in you. I've had 2 different people in the last year, Matt Danner being one of them, for instance, who barely know me from anything, and they're like, I recognize what you can do, I see your ability, and I want to help you, and I'm like, you don't even know me, you're wonderful, oh my god. And sometimes you'll get people that I try to give those opportunities for up and coming people, whether they're artists or animators or musicians, or voiceover actors, etc. I try to bestow that in whenever I can. in return, because that's how this works. That's
Yeah,
how all
giving
this
back
stuff works.
To,
Yeah, Matt's a great guy. Be sure to check out his episode with us in the
Yes,
corner.
yes, absolutely. And watch Muppet Babies, which he puts his heart and soul into.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is why we have our podcast, is because we're trying to give back as well.
Mhm.
We're trying to help people out.
Absolutely.
Talk more about some of your projects.
Sure. Well, the big one that has been my life for a long time, from both the series and now the video game, is The Terrain of Magical Expertise, which was a concept that I made when I was in middle school. My best friend, Mike Lucas, who's a very talented comic artist, he moved away when we were in middle school. I'm going to give a very short version of this story. He moved away, and we kept in touch on a forum called TV Tome, which no longer exists. And we made all of our first internet friends, like 2003 or 4. Picked up Flash, and I was like, I'm going to make like a story about like us and our internet friends in the cyber world. I was really big at the time into like Dot Hack and Reboot and Mega Man Battle Network and all those like the virtual world and the video game, the cyber world type stuff.
The 2000s.
Love that stuff. Yeah. Long before the days of Sword Art Online and whatever else.
Somebody mentions that anime,
Still
I'm like,
never
it's
seen
Dot
it.
Hack.
I just worked on Sword Art, and I'm like, I've still never seen an episode of that show. And everybody thinks that Tome is a ripoff of Sword Art, and I'm just like, never seen it, dog. Sorry. Nonetheless. So that was the very first version of it was TV Tome Adventures, which I did on Newgrounds, and it was like 70-something episodes. They were all little sprites and things, It was very primitive looking.
You and Mike worked on it?
Mike was the original voice of Alpha, the red spiky haired character, who was very clearly based on him, and Kirbopher, the other character, is based on me. So it was him and I and all of our internet friends at the time.
So you're doing voices then?
Yeah. Well, just because that's all we had access to.
I know,
really.
but that's important, especially how the industry works.
Funnily enough, some people that were in like even the very first version of Tome have gone on to work at Voiceover now, which is crazy. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
One of my best friends, Kira Buckland. She was in like all my really early crappy Newgrounds stuff from like 10 years ago, and now she's like the voice of like 2B from Nier Automata, and she's in Street Fighter and like Fire Emblem and all this shit. She's amazing.
Really tangential point to that. I often tell people when they ask me, it's like, how do I get into voice acting? Since I don't really understand that full path, and there's, like you said earlier, there's so many ways to do it. I always tell people, it's like, if you know someone who's doing a short project, get involved in that. And if it takes off, you're the voice of that character. Done. You're done.
Voice acting club. Look that up if you guys are interested. That's also a good resource where there's projects like non-paying or low-paying projects and things where you can just get experience and meet other people, and it's great. And Kira Buckland runs that site actually, so she does a good job with that. So back to me though.
Shout outs.
Well, Tome was so Tome I brought back when I was kind of finishing up college. I was thinking about again maybe trying to do it as a game. When I was learning Flash, I wanted to make a Tome game, and I realized I hate programming, so I made cartoons and movies instead. And then when I was finishing up college, I was thinking about trying to do a game again, and couldn't find programmers to work with. It just wasn't going to happen. So I decided, after some spurning on by a few different things and a few different people, I decided, you know what? Fuck it, I'll do it as a show. And so I did. And so from 2011 to 2015, I made a 16-episode, each TV show length, 16 to 20 minutes each, long series, fully animated. It was done very limited kind of style, so that I could get episodes done like once every couple months or whatever. Originally, I thought I'll get an episode done a month, and I'm like, no, you're high, Chris. That's not happening.
So much work. So much work.
Yeah. So I did that, and it wasn't like a viral, massive, huge success or anything, but it amassed a fan base, and we finished the show in 2015. All the cast came in. We screened the final episode at Anime Expo 2015. It was an amazing full room of people at the panel, and
I met at Anime Expo 2015.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
I may have.
I tend to go every year just because it's right here. So, and then flash forward to we did the Kickstarter for the Tome video game in 2017, and we raised $100,000. Which was absolutely incredible, and we've been working on that for the last couple of years now, and it's been amazing, and all the support that we got from people, and that's what's been on my plate. I'm working with a small group of really really great programmers and game designers, and you know, I've had like enough experience by this point from my freelance stuff and indie things that I know what it takes to make a game, and I'm doing everything on my part, and you know, that's
So
what I get to do every day.
Is there a link that for Tome? That you
Sure,
can
yeah.
promote?
If you search Terrain of Magical Expertise, Tome, Tome, for short, on Kickstarter, you'll find it.
Yeah.
And I'll have a direct link to it as well. But yeah, that's where we have updates. Now I'm doing update videos once a month, also on my YouTube channel as well. And,
what's your YouTube channel?
Sure, it's Kirbopher15, Kirbopher.
Link in the description.
Link in the description.
You
Go
can
like,
Why did I
share,
spell it?
subscribe, you know.
I believe the ones that you sent to us. I believe it was Twitter. maybe
Yeah, Twitter.
Instagram, and
I don't use
YouTube.
Instagram. That's the one thing I still haven't
There was a third
capitalized
one. I know it was Twitter.
we have a Facebook page for the Tome series
Facebook.
as well, which people don't really use that much anymore. But yeah, we have updates every month on the Kickstarter about like how the game is progressing and revealing new characters. We're actually doing a fan art contest right now,
Ooh.
and the winner will get to have
Artists.
their character put in the game. So
That's
it's
fun.
the deadline is Monday at 11 p.m. PST. So because this will be going up, I'm assuming in the next day or so.
Oh,
this is
it's,
up right
it's
now.
live.
Oh yeah, well, so anybody, if you're interested, if you go look at my stuff, you'll find the video with the rules in and everything, and go check that out. So
Yeah, we got some very talented people who do.
I hope so.
We got-
Please.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
our logo
Logo.
and
Title sequence.
our title sequence, and then we have a couple little animations too that should be
Yeah.
used.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody.
Those all come from like a contest that we had.
Oh sweet!
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. If any of you guys, if you want your character to appear in a video game, there's an opportunity.
You can see the
Go for
logo
it.
to the left.
Aha.
Right here.
Yes.
Is it over there? Wait, no, over there. It's
Somewhere.
Over there. It's over there.
It's on my face.
Wait, did you want to ask a question?
Oh yeah, I
was
wanted to
gonna
ask about
a question.
Kickstarter. So you
Oh,
ran
okay.
a Kickstarter. I'd say it's pretty successful.
Yeah.
What are the best tips for as an independent creator making a Kickstarter, and launching that? What is what advice do you give?
As far as how much you want to raise, aim realistically. Really see like, okay, what is the bare minimum that I need to make this work?
Well,
And
I'll say that a lot of people don't know what that is.
yeah, you
In the
really, and that's something you really have to do a lot of research and kind of personal, like looking back on what you can scale back on and different goals of things as far as like, well, if I can't do it this way, can I do it for this much money or whatever. One of the things we did was we asked for, I believe $75K was the base that we asked for. We wanted $100,000, and we managed to make over $100,000 as a result. And I think that part of that was because we aimed a little bit lower, and more people were inclined. And we even made it apparent. I think I was saying ahead of time, like, we want to get $100,000, but we're going to ask for $75,000. And I think people knew that. And thankfully, because of the show's fan base, we made it and more, and it was
Oh,
amazing.
Okay. So it helps to have a fan base and following.
Yeah, and if you don't, especially if you're doing a video game, I would say having a demo really helps. A demo and a cool video to show it off, and doesn't have to be the prettiest looking thing in the world. Certainly helps if you have good art. If you are an artist, and listen, if you're a programmer, I just met a guy recently. It was an engineer I was working with on some anime stuff, and he said his son really wants to get into games. And I'm like, if he really wants to make games, tell him to learn how to do programming. Because if you're a programmer, then you can make it. You can get 1,000 different people. People will line up out the door to be your artist. If you can make a game, and you can actually make it by programming it,
Yeah.
that's how it gets done, man. Because that, again, I defaulted to doing cartoons because I couldn't make games. I didn't want to be a programmer, and I just didn't have it in me to do that.
That's a techie
So
side.
yeah, and now I have people that I work with, Michael and Scott and Nathan, my core development crew. I met them through another game that I worked with that was crowdfunded on Kickstarter.
So how big is your crew for your game? And like, tell us a bit more about your game. Like, is it like a fighting game? Is it an adventure game? RPG?
It's a turn-based RPG, 2D kind of
Yeah.
isometric style, and
Love that.
very reminiscent of the Mario RPGs, both the original Super Nintendo one and Paper Mario, a little bit Mario and Luigi, a lot of those, and also bits of Mega Man Battle Network and Dot Hack, because it's a game about a game. It's a game where that takes place in an MMORPG.
Yeah.
So all of the characters are like other players that are in your party,
Yeah.
and you're going around with them and everything. So I'm doing all the animation myself. I have Michael and Nathan, who are my two programmers, and Scott, who's our designer. They're like the core. The four of us are like the core trio, quartet. Excuse me. I can count, I guess. That's why I'm not a programmer, guys. And then we have a whole crew of very talented background artists that are freelancers. 4 different musicians and a couple guest ones as well. Hopefully my voice cast as well, and got a lot of other folks. And my lawyer and my etc. Things like that. It all matters. And and video editor and.
You've been working on it, what, a couple of years?
We created the demo throughout the first half of 2017. We launched the Kickstarter fall 2017. Got the funds by like very end of the year, and then we officially started by like. I would say December 2017 is when we officially started like on everything. But even before then, I was already doing animations for all major characters and things, and getting stuff for the levels together and etc. And so full development has been for about a year and a half or so, I would say.
And do you have an end in sight?
My goal is 2020. I don't care if
2020?
it's January 1st, 2020 or December 31st, 2020. But sometime in that year is our goal. And I think it seems like we've been on track that we're going to do that. That's the goal, and we're sticking to it.
That's
so
impressive.
Hopefully. But.
So I'm assuming all of your Kickstarter backers are going to get the game, and then you guys looking to release on Steam or?
Mm-hmm. Steam, and we would love to do consoles, but that would depend on if we get a publisher. So any publishers out there interested that can help us, please.
Might have some
Please.
Epic Games, come in, buy his game.
Please buy me. I'm a Hollywood prostitute. That's what I get to do every day. Literally before I came here, I was working on cutscenes. I was choreographing cutscenes in the game engine and placing markers and stuff and doing that a lot. And because I actually have finished animating most of the assets needed, all the character animation. We have pretty much all the levels done at this point. They're all constructed now and everything. So yeah, we're moving along and we're just building the content and going forward. And it's been going really well so far. So yeah.
What are your favorite or biggest gigs that you've done voice acting for?
Sure.
And then also just a follow-up question to that. Can you tell us about any point in your life where you were like struggling on if you had any point like this, because you know how in animation or in this industry, in the entertainment industry, we all go through periods where we're having a really hard time getting a job and we need to make money somehow. Mm-hmm. Tell us about any point in your life where you were you really felt like you were at your lowest of lows and you were like, oh my god, I'm struggling really hard.
Sure. Well, for the first question, the fact that Ian Cordy was so incredibly gracious and invited me onto OKKO basically as a utility player. I played 5 or 6 different named characters in that show. I did about 30 episodes, and I love that series very much. And the fact that I got to play with Jim Cummings and Courtney Taylor and Ashley Birch, David Herman, Kate Flannery, all these amazing people, and my Robo family, which was Robbie Damon and Kari Waldgren. That was a gift. And then other ones, performances I'm really proud of is Pegasus on Sailor Moon.
You were gonna tell us about the Sailor Moon thing.
So we went back and we've been redubbing the original '90s Sailor Moon series uncut with the new cast because, as I'm sure you probably know as an old fan, the old one was very censored.
Yeah.
Very.
Oh yeah.
This is my cousin.
Yeah. So years later, the famed creator of Sailor Moon allowed us to give it another shot, and Viz Media got the license, and we've been the last 4 years now redoing the show. It's all on Hulu if you guys want to check out the new show.
Did they re-release it on DVD?
Yeah, there's Blu-rays of we've released
I
up
think my
into
sister got 'em.
Supers, and actually the final season, which has never been dubbed before, is coming next, which I'm very excited about.
Oh snap!
Any idea on the release date for that?
Probably this year, I think. I feel like Viz has probably said something somewhere about it, but I would bet probably this year. But I got to work on Sailor Moon Supers, and I played Pegasus, which was a huge incredible honor. He was the Pegasus that talked to Minnie Moon or Chibi Moon, excuse me, in her dreams.
I was obsessed with him.
Yeah, I got to voice him in the redub, which was awesome.
So it was both you were both the Pegasus, and then he was like
Helios,
also
his human form as
oh,
well.
okay, Helios.
Yeah.
Did you do Helios too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did both of them. Yeah, because they're the same person. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, and I got to know a lot of the cast of the Sailor Guardians, and everybody are friends of mine, and the cast. The new dub is amazing.
That's
it's so
cool.
good. And I'm hoping there's supposed to be because there's been Sailor Moon Crystal,
Yeah,
which
did
is
you
the new
work on
series.
that at all?
I have not, because they haven't done a Crystal version of that season yet.
Oh.
They announced, I think, a couple of years ago
Are you
that there
hoping
was
to
going
get
to
the
be.
same character?
Well, I mean that's the hope, because the
Yeah.
cast has been consistent between both so far. But they announced they were going to do a 2-part movie based on Sailor Moon Supers, which is the season Pegasus is in. So I'm hoping that will still happen, and then I'll get to come back and do that. We'll see. But I'm very proud of what I got to do on the redub series.
Cool.
And then the last one is just because he's become probably my most popular character is Reagan from Mob Psycho 100, which is a fun show to work on. I love that series and that character
So
very
beautiful.
much. Yeah, it's great. And season 2 just finished airing.
You know, I didn't get a chance to watch season 2. I was so distracted. I started watching One Punch Man season 2 that just started.
Okay. Season 2 is all up on Crunchyroll. I'm sure there will probably be news about the dub at some point soon for season 2. But I love that show. As far as the second question goes, so interestingly, I've never. Well, it's hard to define that because, in some sense, I guess the hard time in the sense that you're probably thinking is constant because I couldn't get a job, and I still don't have a job. I'm still mainly doing my own thing as far as the animation industry goes, and there's a part of me that's oh, man, that I come out here and I wasn't good enough to do that, and then I ended up becoming a voiceover actor instead as far as my career goes, and it's all right, but I kind of got to a point where my values changed and evolved a lot from school, the earliest era we talked about up until now, where from both my place in the world and the industry and that I want to do, and the things that I'm making and how they impact others and what the point of it all is, and the hard times have been when bad life shit happens. Right before 2016 started and KO worked out and then I got my agent and everything, I was going through probably the worst depression of my life, and I was not in a good place mentally, at all. And but I had to get out of it, and I had to go back to just working hard and doing what it is that I love to keep myself happy.
Yeah.
And I did. And I was able to do that, and I'm able, like I said at the very beginning, I'm incredibly grateful. That's the mistranslated version.
It's glad and grateful at the same time.
I get to wake up and do things that I love.
Yeah.
Whether I'm either making my own stuff, or even just my little YouTube things, I do little vlogs or whatever, simple, and then my voiceover stuff as well. And so I'm going to be working on a lot of anime stuff, which is always great. I'm doing a lot of things right now, and I love that. So that just knowing that I have that and learning, just changing my attitude and appreciating that, especially just since I moved here, that's what helps me get through everything. And the really bottom line is I remember it was around when I was finishing up the Tome web series, because I was on break for a little bit between finishing that and doing the video game. It's about the impact that we leave with the stuff that we create. Whether it's just that episode of Rick and Morty was funny, I'm gonna go rewatch that and it makes me feel good.
Sure.
Or I got a really deep, meaningful lesson out of this really serious anime that I watched. I just watched Erased recently, and I was oh my god,
I need to finish that.
so good.
A lot of anime
So
has
good.
a lot of good lessons.
And or even just a video game, and
Yeah.
man, this is just fun to play with my friends or play on my own or otherwise. Or Zootopia that changes my life. I'm Jesus, this is my new favorite movie of all time. Oh my god,
I think we saw that together.
Yeah. Remember, I was oh my god, I was spinning around outside. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And I don't get to do too many conventions. I'm hoping to change that soon. When I get to meet fans or when I interact with fans, even just people tweet at me and say, hey, I really love what you do, and I really it got me through. Like when they say, hey, it got me through a hard time, or hey, I really took something away from that. That's what it's about. That is what this is all about in the long run. Is what this is. This people seem to think the entertainment industry often is a very ego-driven kind of business, because as an artist, you tend to get very like self-obsessed and while also self-depreciating. It's that weird double shit that just nobody can ever really explain. But it's not. It's about everybody else. And Julia White made this incredibly poignant thing that I never forgot. There was an interview because he used to be the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog.
And Urkel.
And well, I mean,
more important.
You know,
when I found that out, my whole like world just was like, wow.
Could have gotten him for the movie, but no, you know, Ben Schwartz, whatever. Anyway, whatever. The movie's gonna suck anyway. I don't give a shit.
I can't wait.
So Jaleel White did an interview on. There was a DVD set that they put out for one of the Sonic cartoons that he worked on back in the '90s. And it was the Sat AM one, the serious one with the freedom fighters.
Okay, with like Sally. And
Yeah.
Buddy.
Yeah, of course. Oh, okay, you know. Good. Yeah. So he did an interview, and he had this great point where he's like, everybody thinks that acting is always like, everybody shut up and let me do my performance thing. And he's like, and I'm paraphrasing a bit here, but he's like, no, acting is about giving what you, the audience, want. It's all about servicing the story to you. It's not about us. It's about giving things to you. And I was like, oh my God, he's so right.
That's true, yeah.
So right. That's exactly, because like as not anything. Actors, animators, writers, whatever. We are cogs in a machine.
Yep.
We are not the defining only thing that makes this shit work. I don't care if it's a game or a show or a movie, whatever. It is not driven by any one person and their ego.
Well, I always say, like, part of the being good at what you do, at least in the entertainment industry, is about communication. Mm-hmm. So it's communicating an idea to other people, having enough reference and experience to understand, like, okay, I understand what this is supposed to be about. How do I communicate that to the audience?
Yeah, and even in between your colleagues. Mm-hmm. I mean, being a director. I mean, like. I got into directing in college because I was directing my actors for my cartoons, for performance-wise, and had to learn how to communicate with them to get what I needed, especially because early on I wasn't working with actors, I was working with just people with microphones. Yeah. But I had to get what I needed out of them for the performance to work with the animation.
It's probably very tricky.
Yeah, and everybody was very patient, and now I've also actually gotten to do some voice directing for other like video games and things.
Oh, that's cool.
I worked, if anybody's played a Hat in Time, which is for most major consoles, I voice directed all that, which was a lot of fun. And then also directing animation. I used to do these little they were kind of like Robot Chicken style, like vignettes. They were called the Nintendo collabs, spelled like N-I-N, the number 10, like Homer Simpson. And we did Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Nintendo to the 64th power. And there were these collabs where me and like 10 different animators or so would get together. Excuse me. I wrote a bunch of different vignettes and things for various Nintendo jokes or whatever. They were very stupid because I wrote them 10 years ago. And worked with a bunch of animators, and I had to direct them on what they were doing. And, through that, I learned how to work with a team and lead people for a finished product. And that experience helped me with then doing the Tome web series, and then even more so, to doing the Tome video game, where I'm working with people to do things that I'm not capable of doing. I don't have any ability to do programming stuff, or, I know some game design things, but not like the really hard, like number and balance type of things, like very technical side of things. But because I know how to communicate with Mike, Nathan, and Scott, my core team, I also, the main thing I learned is to make people's lives easy when they have to do their job, so that they're also enjoying themselves. Yeah. And it's not a slog, and it's fun, and they don't want to kill themselves.
Yes. Yeah, or you.
Or me, yeah. Especially not me. I don't like that part. So that helped a lot. Is all that experience from in college and then leading into now, and I'm very thankful for it because I've the teams I've worked with, especially on my own thing, because they're helping to bring my vision to life. I can't thank those people enough either. And then the consumers, and the viewers and fans who watch it or will eventually play, hopefully, the things that we make and enjoy them, and it's all for that. So where did I go with this?
I've had 2 questions.
Okay.
These are like probably my last 2 questions.
Okay.
Unless you guys want to ask anything else.
How long have we been going for?
Does it say how
Probably
long?
about an hour.
Okay. Do you guys
Yeah,
ever take
but-
questions from the chat?
we do.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
wanted to like ask these 2 questions, and then if they have any questions too,
Okay.
before we hit the
Sure,
chat.
sure.
My 2 questions are. Question number 1 is, do you ever experience burnout, and how do you like handle it?
Yes. Just to answer that one real quick is I just pace myself. Because I get to just be home. I'd be very interested to know how I would function in like a real studio setting comparatively, because at home I could just do
My
whatever.
second question was going to be like,
Oh, in
how do you
tandem?
self motivate
Sure,
yourself?
sure. Well, I am very work oriented. I want to get the thing done, so I'm always going to push myself eventually. But I try to pace myself. I don't push myself too hard. I will not be too hard on myself if I didn't get anything done or only got a little bit done in a day. I'll watch stuff or play some things all with intention of research or even just to relax or whatever, And even, on the life side of things, like I'm trying to eat healthier, I'm trying to work out more, because it's like, this is the thing, you have to have a life too.
Yeah.
Like, it can't all just be my work is my everything. Like, no,
Yes.
you have to have a life, you have to be a fucking human.
What is a human?
In addition. So, and I know that sometimes when you're just like so consumed with what you do, and it's great to love what you do, but that can't be all there is to you.
No.
So I always try to be like, have a life, be social, go to coffee, see your friends,
Yes.
hang out, do whatever
Connect with people.
in between. And
Please,
so
God.
I've gotten to, actually that's something college really taught me. That might have been the biggest thing, is college, more than anything to do with animation or whatever, is that college taught me to be independent. It taught me to be really even more, I was pretty social in school, but like even more social and outgoing and fun and just to have a goddamn life,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really what it is. Having a life, a balanced, varied, fun life where you pace
Healthy.
yourself and doing things and being active tends to help with pacing yourself out to just not even get to a point of burnout.
Yeah.
So. But
That's
if you
good.
burn out, then take a break, man.
Then
Yeah.
you give it right back to it.
Yeah.
Don't feel, because what was it? I heard that if say you do want to relax or whatever, and there's some people that's all they want to do, you'll notice, like, go ahead and let yourself do it. You'll notice you'll hit a point where you're sick of relaxing.
Yep.
They always say, just go ahead and do it, like, I don't know, or people who are, like, addicted to something, that's all they want to do. Like, go ahead, keep doing it. There's going to be some point where you get sick of it. I have that issue with, like, sweets or something, like, I just want to eat sweets. I eat a bunch, and then there's a point where I'm like, alright, I'm never going to do this again for, like, I don't know, a couple months. I just overdose on this.
And you definitely understand that's your personality, go for it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
allow yourself to do it and then get back.
Yeah. Okay, so let's jump to the chat questions.
All right,
shall we?
sure. How many people
Okay.
are watching right now?
We have, I think, including. Oh well, are you the other? Oh, we have 5 people. Oh,
5 total.
mine needs to be refreshed.
Only 5 people?
I don't see who they are, but
Yeah,
we do
people
have
chime in,
questions
people
though.
come in.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I retweeted.
We also-
Where is everybody,
We
man?
also usually don't record this early.
Well,
Yeah, we're normally on like Sunday nights.
Or on Saturday.
also, yeah, it's a Saturday too. They're probably all out enjoying
Yeah.
themselves.
Let's
They have
see.
lives.
Yeah, unlike
Take your
us.
advice.
Olivia says
Oh, they don't
hi.
get questions.
Hi, Olivia.
Linkar Rocks
Okay.
says hi. Let's see. Did you ever find it awkward to voice act? As far as I know, you're pretty much talking to yourself alone in a box with a microphone.
Not accurate.
This is by
Well-
Olivia.
Well, for prelay original animation recording, like for OKKO, we get to record all together, which is awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like Titans does that.
Yeah. Which I mean, and those 5 are like thicker than thieves. So, that is so much fun.
Yeah, because you can like bounce off of each
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
Because I have seen voice actors just do their part, and then the other voice
Yeah.
actor comes in and does their part. And it's like,
For anime, it has to be that way
Oh, really?
because you're dubbing, so you have it's just technically it's
Oh.
easier to do it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And
Makes
and
sense.
most of the time for video games, it's individual. Although I have done some video game sessions where they have more than one actor, which is a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Sometimes, sad to say, sometimes it's not quite as efficient because you have to do a lot of back and forth and requires more editing and things. But it is really fun. But I've been used to just doing stuff by myself because you're working with an engineer and a director, and generally the people that are directing and engineering are all really fun people. I was just working with this guy Steve Staley, he's the voice of Neji on Naruto. He's been directing some more. He's been directing some more anime recently. He's a fun guy. He's so efficient. He doesn't mess around. Like if I screw up a take, he's like, you know what to do. And he's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, it was great. And he doesn't. He's just so easy. And I'm like, man, thanks. He's like, well, you're good at this. I don't have to tell you what to do.
Voice directors are the unsung heroes.
Oh, okay. No. Actually, you know what? Voice directors, I think, are beginning to get more appreciation.
Now,
because
really.
Now more people know of people like Andrea Romano.
She's the queen.
And Chris Zimmerman and Colette Sunderman, and those are the pre-like people. I mean, in anime, there's Chris Bevins and Mike McFarland and people like that who are, Caitlin Glass, people who are amazing, Michael Cinder Nicholas, Stephanie Shea. The unsung heroes are the engineers, the recording people, because they probably work harder than the fucking actors because they have to get around all the actors' bullshit and make it sound good. Much love to shout out to all engineers ever in the universe for working their asses off.
It's an important job.
Truly, seriously.
And then I'm sure as far as the awkward part goes, as an actor, you get past that really quick because when you're an actor, you gotta act on the spot. Did you ever experience stage fright in the beginning?
No, I mean I've definitely had moments of I gotta do a good job. When I did Sailor Moon, I was scared. I was like, they might replace me with somebody else. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this.
Just because of how notorious it was.
Well, because with the new dub, they were being very, very specific, and it's amazing because of it. But they really wanted to do a better service to the Japanese story and the character voices and the portrayals and everything. And Pegasus is very young. I'm 30. Pegasus is meant to be young, younger than Tuxedo Mask, and so I had to play him young, and especially so it would make the relationship with Chibiusa weird because it's a horse. That was hard. But no, I was nervous. It was in Sailor Moon. It was a huge deal.
Oh yeah.
And there was a lot to live up to. So yeah, and there was a video game I worked on also that was a legacy thing that I was like, oh, I gotta really make sure I do this, and that'll probably be out this year. I think that I really tried to work hard on. Most jobs, unless it's sometimes where it's all right, whatever, and it's a paycheck. Most of the time, I really do try to do the work. I really try to do as good of a job as I possibly can, and do my research if they send us the script ahead of time, or the storyboards. I would always read the storyboards for a KO episode before I come in for a recording.
Well, that's good. You have to know backstory and everything.
Yeah, and just to know context.
Yeah.
Really, that's such an important thing to know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. What was the? Somebody said hi. Who was
Hello.
Somebody?
Hello.
What was it? Comic? Where was it? The Cartoon Gamer 8000.
Oh, hey, how you doing, Malik? I know him. He's a cool guy.
Did
you know Donkey Kong something?
What?
That's what his voice does. That's his voice. He's voices for Did You Know Gaming.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Check out his. Shut up. Check out Cartoon Gamer's YouTube channel. Because he's done some really cool little mini documentaries about a lot of the animation staff on the Pokemon anime. He did this one video in particular that's really cool about Takeshi Shudo, I think his name was. He was I think he was the screenwriter for the first 3 Pokemon movies, and so he talks about Mewtwo and Lugia and the 3rd movie that almost didn't happen, and the Entei one. It's really cool. Yeah. Shout out to him. He's cool. Malik replied. He's awesome.
I like that movie. The very first one.
They're doing a remake. They're doing a CG animated remake of the Mewtwo movie, the original one.
Really?
Yeah, it looks really cool. They're because they look like the original style, but they're CG models but they look really high detailed and stuff. It's super good. Dude, can I just say I'm all the fuck in on that and Detective Pikachu. I'm there. I swear to God, day one, I am there for that shit.
I was a little alarmed by the voice actor of Pikachu because I was like. I couldn't. Yeah,
dude,
I couldn't.
You know what's sad? Admittedly, personality-wise, I feel that the other choices they were looking at, which were it was Mark Wahlberg and The Rock.
Well, I know. I just wasn't expecting a really what's up,
but that's the thing is Ryan's amazing, but vocally and character-wise, he's a little like higher and younger than like Detective, because Detective Pikachu's supposed to be like an older guy, like,
Danny,
hey, what's going on?
I guess I just
Danny
didn't
DeVito.
want him to have a voice like that. I
Yeah,
just
well-
wanted him to just say Pika.
Well,
was just like,
no,
oh, this is creepy.
I'm so excited for Detective
No,
Pikachu.
I
I
I
love,
swear to
I
God.
love all the
funny.
stuff that Ryan Reynolds has been posting onto his like personal YouTube channel for Detective Pikachu. He's been doing like you know, behind the actors, like doing like to get into the mindset of
well,
Pikachu.
very
and
clearly,
just-
because they're like, well, we're going to really capitalize on the fact that he's doing this, so let's utilize the fuck out of his social media,
Yeah,
which
sure.
makes total sense. Excuse me, Morty.
Yeah.
Sure, you never hear that from anybody around you all the time.
Of course not. I think, yeah.
Richard over here asked a couple questions.
Oh, yeah?
What? You can talk.
13 people watching.
Okay.
Oh, hello.
Hey.
Wow.
Hey, we got double digits.
They heard my complaining.
You wanted
Watch
to
more.
know your opinion on Digimon. Like,
Oh, God, they're trying to bait me. Digimon is fine. If you like it, that's fine, but Pokemon's better. The end.
I agree with that.
Thank
I
you.
What do you think of
100%
what do you think
agree
of
with
Bon at the end of everyone's name?
I hate that whenever most people don't do this anymore, but when they're like, hey, what is this funny fake Pokemon, Deskmon, and I'm like, that's a Digimon. Also, you're not funny.
I know, I think I remember
Just
correcting
die.
people too. Like, there's a difference. If there's Mon after everything.
I
it's
also
Digimon.
still can't fucking believe after 20 years of this, Pikachu's a goddamn Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade balloon, and people still say Pokemon. It's a fucking O! It's an O! God! Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm mad. Don't get me. Listen, if any fans or any of mine are in the chat, they will tell you, don't let Chris talk
So,
about
yeah.
Pokemon because he'll be very angry, and very mad, and heated and passionate. It's a mistake.
Do you want me to ask your questions, or do you want me to skip over yours and you can ask
Because he said
later?
Pokemon and all.
Because I'm
Good. What's your question? I want to know. I want to know. I want to know what you
Is this a sarcastic
want.
question? And do you have vocal insurance? Was that
No, it's not sarcastic.
Do you have vocal
Hand models get
insurance?
hand insurance.
No, we don't. We have to take it. I'm doing a bad thing and talking way too much and too loudly right now and damaging my instrument. But thankfully, I have some good herbal tea to fix that right up, which I'll probably have when I get home.
Do you have an Apple in the recording booth?
I used to do that. I haven't really had to do that in a while.
No.
What's with
Um,
apples?
So it's like it's a thing that like kind of it like clears up the
Green
clicky
apples.
things. Yeah, green apples specifically. It's like you bite and suck the juice
Yeah,
and kind
it
of gets
helps
rid
with
of
like
the
the cotton
clickiness.
mouth
did not
noise.
know
That,
that.
Yeah.
Apparently it's like got
That noise?
enzymes and
Yeah.
bacteria and
It's helpful.
makes you feel fresh.
One of the studios I do a lot of anime stuff at, they always have like some green apples on hand to be like, in case you want it, in case you need it.
You look
Here,
fucking hungry.
here.
You want some apples?
It's like, here, you're a horse.
Often, it's true. Often it's not really necessary,
Mm.
but it's good to have it just in case. Hey, grab a bite real quick. So,
Interesting.
you know, okay.
I mean, better than some chocolate, you know.
There's this great herbal cough syrup from China. It's called Ninjong Pipakwa. And Fred Tatasciore, kind of
Legendary.
amazing actor, voice of the Hulk. Hence why often people tend to call it Hulk juice. It's an herbal syrup that you mix in with some tea and you drink it, and it like helps to like clear up the throat and really good resource for voiceover, I would say. So
there you go.
Available on Amazon?
Tips.
yep, you can get it on Amazon. Good stuff.
Well, Olivia asks about art college, but I'm gonna just say college in general. Is college necessary to be successful?
God no.
Mm-hmm.
A massive animation success story that you should have on your show someday is Tara Billinger.
Yeah, I want to get Tara and
She,
Zach, too.
of course. Well, Tara, because Zach I went to school with, Zach Bellissimo, they're the creators of Long Gone Gulch.
Yeah.
Tara also works on the Mickey Mouse shorts.
Yeah, she's one of
And
the lead designers.
Zach was on Titans for a long time, now he's on Victor and Valentino.
We
Yeah.
have some non-college folk success stories on
Got
our
a few.
on our
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
One was one too.
Tara,
Also
I
Mexico.
remember just finding her stuff on DeviantArt. She was just an old friend of ours, and she was exceptionally talented, and had people in the business who were like, "I see your potential so hard, and I want to help get you out." And she moved here. She was out here before any of us, I think, and she was getting or before any of like me and my friends, I should say. And she started working right away. And yeah, she's been killing it
I
ever
think
since.
Tara was roommates with Callie.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe so. Yeah,
Yeah.
for a little
Oh,
while.
she
Yeah,
ran.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
this,
I
is,
wonder.
this is kind of like sidetracking, but it seems like you're in a lot of like online communities, and you stay like up to date with like people online.
Yeah.
And,
I live on the internet. It's sad.
No, sometimes that helps, man.
It's
If you
contact.
know your
Sometimes
way on
it
the internet,
doesn't.
it's good to, I don't know, I feel like it's good to get your shit promoted better.
It's a great tool.
Yeah.
It's a sad place.
If
but, you know.
if you're not going to school, I would say absolutely it's a
Yeah.
critical tool, because how else are people going to see your work?
Yeah,
To
or
know
how are you
should-
going to learn yourself how to do things?
Yeah, or reach out to other people, say, hey, I want to.
Yeah, there's
do
there's
this.
tutorials. Harry Harry
I remember
Partridge.
Harry Hockey.
He
Happy
has some
Harry.
great Flash tutorials
Oh, there
that you
you
can
go.
just pick up a copy and learn stuff yourself from that. And it's great. Yeah, there's a lot. There's so many more resources now. It can help. Certainly, there are great colleges and people and a lot of really talented folks who have come from amazing colleges. You know, Cal Arts gets a lot of shit, but like it's big for a reason. Like a lot of amazing
Yeah.
people have come from there, and
Mhm.
SCAD I know is another
Yeah.
one, and
SCAD.
Art center.
yeah, just don't go to Art Institute.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, right.
we went there.
I'm really sorry.
The one on the.
I have no qualms
in
about
North
shitting on
Hollywood.
an Art Institute.
Yeah, we made it somewhat, or at least I did somehow. But I always tell people I don't thank the school for that. Because I worked my ass off
Yeah.
on the side of school. So
Yeah.
Well, you guys know firsthand.
Yeah. School does not make you. So that's,
yeah.
Not at all.
Julian Hobbs. Hey Chris, thanks for being an influence on me. I've had the pleasure of working with LA VAs that do animes like H&H and Reply Zero.
That would be Hunter
ReZero.
Hunter and ReZero.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know these.
Both of which I was in.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. No.
Wait, so it's
Those are
Hunter.
anime.
Hunter.
Hunter x Hunter.
Oh, okay.
If it's-
Okay,
if
see, I
it's-
know that
If
anime,
it's
but I've never
H,
seen.
if it's HXH, then
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
Was it the new
I
one or
don't
the-
know it
the
enough
new
to know the acronym. Okay. On films, can you talk about your experience voicing in what's the Zero one?
ReZero.
ReZero.
Not much to say. I played this guy named Julius, who is a blue-haired kind of. He looks like James from Pokemon, and is equally flamboyant. And he was just
I
like,
love the
ooh,
flamboyant
he's like,
character.
ooh, I'm a jerk, and I'm your rival, main protagonist boy. But I'm still a good guy, and we're going to fight alongside each other against the weird possessed
Those are the
people.
best.
I didn't really know the show very well, but I got to work with Chris Kaysen, who also directs Mob Psycho, and he's a pleasure to be around.
ReZero
so.
was so depressing for me. I couldn't keep
Yeah.
up with it because it was just.
I know people really like it. I know it's coming
it's-
back for a new season.
people love it,
so, yeah.
but it's so depressing.
It's a weird show.
Yeah.
Alex, sorry if I pronounced your last name wrong. Giordano?
Okay.
Giordano? Did I say it right? Oh, okay. Hey Chris, what hit me the most was that I found out you have Asperger's, which was so inspirational because I have it. Do you serve as an inspiration for those who may be on the same boat as you?
You know, I don't think about it, honestly. I've found, it's not even, it's public knowledge, but it's not something that I often, promote that much because it still has a kind of stigma to it, as in, people don't seem to, not everybody seems to understand the difference between, high-functioning and low-functioning autism, and Asperger's is a type of autism.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know,
Can you explain it more, what it
it's
is?
just, it's a type of autism, it most is often associated with, lack of understanding, social cues and human interaction. But I don't, I don't let it define me because, I knew that I had it, from the time I was, 10, and I knew that it would be okay, well, it'll be harder, but I don't care. I still want friends, and I want people in my life. So I learned to be a human and to just function normally, and, So, I just don't tend to really, think about it too hard because I just try to be human and not let any kind of... It's like when people don't like labels. Not that I think it's a label, it's a condition,
yeah.
but it's just something that I'm I don't really let it affect my day-to-day life, and I don't
Yeah.
let it define me necessarily, but...
It's tough. My brother has Asperger's, so
Yeah.
it's.
I just don't like labels to a sense where it's the moment that you're not being authentic, you all of a sudden have a disorder.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
or even there's some, okay, I'll be honest about something. I've met some people who are self-aware enough that they know what their deal is, and often they will use it as oh, please excuse my really antisocial, inappropriate behavior. I have whatever, like
Yeah.
whether it's Asperger's or otherwise. And I'm like, no, that's bullshit. I'm sorry, that's not okay to do that. Because, especially if it is the same thing that I have, then I'm like, no, you can't just fall back on that as an excuse for behaving or treating other people. And they are very few and far. In fact, to be honest, most of the time it's like what this is right now, where they say, hey, like, I relate to that, thank you. And you're welcome to the person who asked the question. I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, I don't let it define me. Don't let it define you either. It's just a portion of your life.
Yeah.
You know, it's much like, it's much like in old bad shows when like character archetypes were defined by things like, this character's personality is they are the black guy. This character's personality is they are the girl. This character's personality is they are the one with a mental condition. And I'm like, that's not a person. That's a vague understanding, and that's not a thing nearly as much anymore, thank God.
Yeah.
But it's like that, where it's like don't let yourself be, because nobody is that, so don't be defined as that by anything, no matter what you are, or who you are, or what you have, or anything. You know?
I wouldn't have even known that he had that until
thankfully most people tell me that, so. And then they learn, they're always like, oh, that's why you're obnoxious. Never mind, now I get it.
I mean, I honestly, I think our industry has just like tons of different.
Yeah, also, we're artists. We're all fucking weird.
We're all weird
Yeah,
to some
shit.
extent, but we don't label ourselves like as like any. We don't have like disorders. Just like we don't label anything as disorders. It's just like we're just interesting folks, and we all come from different backgrounds. And some of us do have a hard time socializing with people, because I guess growing up we were so caught up with our cartoons and like games to the point where we isolated ourselves from people, or I know a lot of us got bullied for liking this stuff.
Oh sure, I mean, yeah, we were all picked on.
We were the nerds that like couldn't socialize very well, and just people made fun of us for liking Pokemon and all of that, and being obsessed.
My life.
Yeah, no, it was mine too.
Like the Pokemon.
And just because you're not socially programmed like everyone else doesn't mean that you have a disorder.
I mean, people I know who, as far as I know, aren't diagnosed with anything. They're just like, I don't want to go to that party.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it. And I'm just like, that's fine.
That's fine. Just, you do you, man. What, are you pointing at me? Yeah, because I'm just being authentic to myself, man. Like, if you don't want to do something, don't do it.
Sabrina's original recipe.
Okay, let's move on. Linkar Rock says, how do you feel about trial and error in getting into a business and using it as a way to improve and move on? I've been trying to do the same to reach my goals, and thanks for meeting me at New York City.
Comic-Con.
Oh yeah. I mean, everything you do should be like a stepping stone, or not a stepping stone, but maybe like another rung on the ladder in some sense. It's is the dog out there?
Yeah.
The dog being cute.
Sorry,
There's an off-screen dog that's being very cute.
Boo, we love you.
Boo,
So
the
cute.
dog was like going like this on the screen, like help.
I want him. I'm gonna steal him.
It's a girl,
Nobody can stop.
right?
Stealing me.
She's
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 so adorable.
Adorable. Just because I was hearing about there's Kameha Con is happening right now, and I was thinking about Majin Buu. So Dragon Ball. Anyway, I mean, like everything I made, I mean, a lot of the stuff I was doing was back in the day, it was like for shallow reasons of like wanting to be successful and be popular and make money or whatever. A lot of my old Newgrounds stuff I talked about before. But it was also, in some sense, like a stepping stone of like, okay, I know that I'm not good enough to do this yet, but I'm going to get better when I do this and learn how to do this thing, and then I'll get to a point where then I can do this. So like everything you do is some kind of trial, and there will be some kind of error in it. It's not so much black and white, and like everything leads to something. You can make it lead to something else afterward. So just keep doing stuff, keep making things. I'm never going to stop.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to stop learning. I don't ever want to stop creating.
And make sure you show people stuff and release it and put it online, even
Yes.
if it's not the best.
Yes.
Because if no one ever sees it, no one will ever know who you are. They'll never know your talent. They'll never know what you can do or what.
Yeah.
You know.
What's that old thing about like everybody's got 1,000 really shitty drawings in them, and the sooner you get them out, you'll finally get to that first actually good drawing.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's true.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's true.
When I was told that story, as a piece of advice, it was for me. I couldn't get past drawing. Oh no, I couldn't understand how everybody has like such amazing art online on their pages and everything. How everything looks amazing, but my teacher told me that story where like you don't realize that one drawing, how many drawings it took to get to that one drawing
Yeah.
they have up on their website. So don't think that everybody's perfect and every single thing that they draw or bust out with firsthand is like the first initial and last initial drawing.
Not even close.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking at the end of the chain, not the beginning.
Yeah.
That is the plight of being an artist in
Yeah.
general. Is everything is trial and
Yeah.
error.
Yeah.
So.
And you gotta enjoy the journey.
And then if you're posting stuff online,
Yes.
like Instagram, like if you like, I've seen people who get sketches that blow up really big on Instagram, and like people who do full animations that don't. It's really just what people click with, and it's what they.
I was going to echo, enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
don't marry your happiness to the end result and what
Yeah.
may come of it. The bonus is, oh cool, the thing that I made came out. Oh, and people like it. Wow, that's the bonus.
Yeah.
The happiness mainly needs to be, I'm doing this, I'm
Yeah.
making this, and then I put it out.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't have such like high expectations. Well, you can have high expectations, but don't have it to be like this specific picture. And if
Yeah.
it's not this picture, then like you're not making it in life. You
Yeah.
know? Julianne Hobbs again says, have you heard of an app from Bryce Papenbrook?
oh, unlocked.
And called Unlocked, and will you join since there's been lots of updates and it's been out on Android and iOS?
Yeah, Unlocked is it's a very cool tool. Bryce Papenbrook, who's a great voice actor, does a lot of anime stuff. He and his partner started
David
up.
Vincent?
David Vincent, yes, that's right. They both started up this app. It's like a streaming service kind of thing for phones and stuff, and it's a lot of really good voice actors have used it for like updating folks and doing like weekly streams and things and stuff at conventions. Bryce invited me when he was first starting up, and he's a friend, of course. He voiced a character in a couple Tell 'em episodes, which he was very kind to do. The reason I haven't been using it is because I kind of already have my platforms with like YouTube and otherwise, and I also don't really feel like doing like on camera streams or anything. Like I have other content that I do that, it's just like I'm doing Q&As about stuff that I can't talk about or things that I can't show you.
Yeah.
So whatever. So I haven't really capitalized on it. Maybe someday, maybe like if I can have it tie into something that like would be directly relevant to what I'm doing or whatever. I'm certainly open to it, but I just haven't had like a use for it yet.
So-
but it's a great tool. So
Is it mainly for voice actors to like just?
not
reach an
exclusively.
audience?
Not exclusively. It's been used by other types of entertainers and things as well. But it started mainly as like a platform for a lot of voice actors, especially ones who do a lot of conventions as well.
So it'd be something that you could take your phone out and just plop it in front
Yep.
of you at a convention.
Yeah,
and
you just start
Oh, that's
going
cool.
live and go for it. Yeah.
It's very practical.
Keep noting.
Yeah, I'm writing it down.
John Marbo asked, technical side, what microphone do you use to record your curved blogs and or animation voiceover work?
For Kirblogs, they're quick and easy. I use a Samson C01U. It's a USB microphone. You can get it for probably like a couple $100. I couldn't tell you what you probably know whatever the hell this is. This is more like an actual professional microphone.
This is very cheap on
Yeah,
Amazon.
these are
Oh,
very
yeah.
cheap.
Okay.
I got both of these. Yeah, the whole thing, the whole cake, like cords, the stands, $20.
Honestly, I will say, and I'll even say there's a video. Look up Rice Pirate, Mick Lauer. He did this really good video that is about treating your recording space, which he makes the great point of. That's actually in some senses a little bit more important than the microphone you have, because if you have an amazing microphone, but if you're in like a big echo chamber of a fucking room or whatever, it's gonna sound like, okay, Chris Niosi is reading for character name, and it sounds like ass.
Yeah.
But if you have like a good, well-treated space, even if the microphone's not amazingly, high technical, then
Well,
it'll still sound good.
I've done cartoons where we record in a closet or
Yeah.
like a room where you can just close off all doors and it's a very small space.
There are
That's what a booth
so
looks
many professional voiceover actors that their fucking recording space at home is
like. It's a closet, yeah.
So many. It's not uncommon.
That's
so,
all you need.
Yeah.
There you go.
And it works well because to have the dampening like fabric on the walls really helps stop the audio bouncing. So that's why closets.
Yeah, look up Rice Pirate recording space. I think you'll find the video of that. It's probably on YouTube somewhere. But
Cool.
Yeah.
Olivia asked, how do we get started with our art career without art college? I have a portfolio and I have the tools and I've done some freelance things, but I don't know how to
You
get
got a
further.
portfolio, you put it up and you tell people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it up.
Reach out to people.
Make a website. Use every social media
Apply.
platform you can.
Apply
If you
to
want to
jobs.
do stuff like CTX or whatever, you can. I
Sure.
mean, that requires some dough, but and make friends.
Yeah.
Conventions, do conventions.
Yes, do conventions, sell your art at cons, meet more people in the industry, go up to comic publishers and talk to people, find places where you can interview and try for things. You gotta be proactive.
Yeah.
You know.
Apply for jobs. There's
Yeah.
job listings online. You can always submit your portfolio to them and ask
If you're
them.
really good, sometimes there's creators that go looking and
They
they'll
do.
find
Yeah.
people and like this person's good, bring them on.
That's what Penn did on Adventure Time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
discover people. They discovered a lot of people on
But-
Tumblr
and
at
a lo-
some point.
Yeah, like my buddy Kaiser is one of the character designers on the Spider-Man. He was living out in New Jersey just doing his work on DeviantArt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People reach out to
DeviantArt,
him.
yeah.
He never had any like I want to work in animation,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he gained a following because of their work.
Yeah.
And just like, well, I want to find out who this person is.
That's how it
Yeah.
starts.
Yeah.
For sure.
I believe it was Harvey Beaks was actually took everyone off of like
Same.
Tumblr.
Yeah, I remember hearing a thing
I
about that.
remember that.
Julian Hobbs said, forgot to mention this. Shout out to the voice actors I've worked with, Erica, Oh my god.
Shout
all
out to the
names.
people who aren't on the show
Ryan
right now.
Barley, Sean Chiplock, Karen
Plug, plug,
and
plug.
Casey
I'm so cool. I work with these people. He's pulling a me right now. Feel what I've been doing
They
this
just
whole
want the
thing.
audio bite of you saying.
Linkar Rock says, have you ever done any funny improvised takes in some of your roles? Because you not only mentioned that you did some Ed and Eddie like did some Ed and Eddie like grunts. I thought you could
No, God, no. I wish. Love that
For
show. Reagan.
Reagan?
Yes.
Oh, is that
I
his
try to
Like, you
sneak
also
in a
did
lot
some
of
funny takes
stupid
in
references in a lot of the shows I work on.
Reagan role.
Just little things like if there's ever like a quick reaction of like a whatever, it's like Eddie, like, hey Double D, that kind of thing or whatever. And God, there was one thing I did recently where I did like the king from that shitty Zelda CDI.
Oh my
I
god.
had to say my boy,
Yeah.
so I said my boy, and I delivered it just like that. And no, my favorite. There was another. It was later. There was another Pokemon episode I did, and I played a little one-off, like one episode character who had a Pokemon that was like running rampant through a city, and one of Ash's friends was like, "Well, can't you just return to his Pokeball?" And the line was, it starts with "It's no use," and then whatever the rest of it was. So I delivered it like "It's no use," which is like from fucking, if anybody remembers Silver the Hedgehog from Sonic 06, where he catches you with this psychic thing and he goes, "It's no use!" I'm like, I can only ever deliver those 3 words like that, because I'm an idiot. That was actually, I think that was the first time where I pulled that, and then I'm like, I'm going to try working stupid references into all the shit that
And
I
it
That's
work
got
on.
it.
great.
Yeah.
If you know, I think it's also good to research too, like all of the watch a lot of cartoons. if you
Oh
like
yeah,
voice
there's
acting.
another funny one.
Just
Oh,
make an
oh,
aspect out of this.
here's a good one. Hunter x Hunter, somebody mentioned earlier, I voiced Shawapoof. Hunter x Hunter's by the creator of Yu Yu Hakusho, which I love. My character Shawapoof has a moment where he's like having a nervous breakdown and ranting to himself internally about like, "Oh Poof, you fool, you imbecile, you dimwit!" And I delivered the word dimwit the way that Genkai dimwit, which he
Dimwit, yeah.
yells at Yusuke, and I was like, people will catch that. So, yeah.
So you've gone from Hunter x Hunter and you've done Sailor Moon. Have you met the creators? Because I believe they're married, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, they're in Japan,
Yeah.
and they're prestigious, famous artists that are going to come by. Oh, we're going to come meet the English dub actors. Yeah, sure. I would love to meet them,
Yeah.
but no, sadly not.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
But then
God.
I believe they are married. Yeah,
They are married, for
yeah.
sure.
Naoko
That's a-
Takeuchi
that's
and
a power couple.
Sogashi, I forget his first name. But yeah, so
I wonder if they're talking about you.
I hope. He's Pegasus and Shawapoof. I've gotten to do all but One Piece. I've done Dragon Ball. I've done.
Brian.
I've
Just
done.
kidding.
No, legit. I swear to God, I've done.
You got Gundam too.
Gundam,
Yeah.
Pokemon, Dragon Ball. I just did
Gundam
Dragon
just
Ball
had their
cameo.
40th anniversary.
Yeah, they got Bill Divers or whatever the new
Yeah,
show is.
right.
Dragon Ball, Naruto. I got on Sailor Moon. You
Who
know.
were you on Naruto?
I voice a character in. Well, I did a little one-off character in Naruto, and then in Boruto, the sequel, I'm a character that probably in like 5 years from now will be the lead villain. So in like 5 years from now, I'll have a job. So he's in the very first episode, like a flash forward when like the Hokage, like Mount Rushmore is like all destroyed, and Boruto's like a teenager. It's like way later, and he's like, I can't believe you did this.
No.
And my guy's like, I'm gonna send you to the same place I sent your dad. The era of the ninja. This is not how he sounds. Era of the ninja is over. And then I'm like, okay, so this will be like 700 arcs from now. Got it. Okay.
It's building.
What anime have you done?
Oh God.
Well, like you've gotten Reagan, but like no One Punch Man characters yet.
No,
Do you have any cross on that?
No, but well, there are some cross cast members.
Okay.
The voice of One Punch Man of Saitama is Mob's brother. And then the voice of Teru, the guy with the long blonde hair, is Speed of Sound Sonic.
Okay.
I've auditioned for One Punch Man a lot. I haven't auditioned for season 2, but I hope I might get the chance.
There's a lot of characters coming.
I would love to be somebody on it. Yeah, it'd be fun to. I like Mob Psycho more because I'm biased. But.
It's Mob Psycho is a fantastic show.
Yeah.
I like One Punch, but Mob Psycho definitely feels more like a passion of love.
Yeah.
Than, like
it's a better story.
Yeah, it's
I
a much
find.
better story.
Yeah.
Well, I just like the quality animation is just so extraordinary. Like One Punch Man is great, but then Mob Psycho is like it's so loose and free.
It's
and
fun. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that show so much. Yeah, Mob Psycho is a big one. Kakegurui, which is like a gambling anime. It's on Netflix. The Godzilla CG animated trilogy of movies that came on recently. I'm the main character of those, Haruo.
The one where they go to the future?
Yeah, like the future happened on accident. They go back to Earth and shit. Yeah, those trilogy of movies. Terraform Mars, which was an old show.
Oh, I remember that show.
Yeah, I did the main guy of that one. I'm working on a show right now called Mr. Osamatsu. It's the show about those 6 identical twin brothers. They kind of look like John Arbuckle from fucking Garfield. It's a comedy show. It's like Shin-Chan, but like pushed further.
That's
It's
awesome.
really fucking funny.
I'm not terrible.
That show's great. And then a lot of other ones too. I did Queen's Blade like years ago, which was like a booby show.
Yeah. The best.
I can't remember that
Some
one.
little bits on the Berserk movies, the
Yeah.
soldiers and things. Very recently I did a little cameo on Dragon Ball Super.
Okay.
Little one-line character.
So it seems like it's a pretty common thing. They do a lot of like little cameos here and there.
That happened because I was visiting Texas and the voice director and engineer Raleigh Pickens was like, "Hey, I come in, I got a little guy for you." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I had like one line, and I'm like, "I will live and die happy because I fucking got to be in Dragon Ball. I don't give a shit."
It's good for me.
And it's a named character, technically.
Okay.
And literally my one line was, "What the hell?" Like it's blasted off the tournament, and I'm like, "I'm good with that. I'm fine. I'm going home now."
Awesome.
Sorry, I'm looking at your IMDb.
Oh god.
You worked on Alpha and Omega.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I did like the 7th or 8th like direct-to-video Alpha and Omega movie. I was a human.
Oh, you worked on Hellsing?
So no, I didn't. Okay, I've been involved with some of the abridged guys like Team 4 Star.
Final Fantasy 7?
Mission abridged. Not the see. This is why I hate IMDb because they put parodies on there even though they're not actual things.
Oh, so they're parody
Yeah,
stuff?
I know.
Okay.
Like
You did a Final Fantasy 7 parody?
Yeah, it was a parody that the Team 4 Star guys they do Dragon Ball Z abridged.
I
Oh,
was working at
great.
Splash when they were working on the Alpha and Omega movies.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, Andrew was the guy that I worked with through there. I forget his
Andrew
last
Young?
name. Maybe.
Yeah, it would be Andy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did that.
Old
I
boss
think I
of
did
mine.
another movie for them. Oh, I did this one. It's not out yet, but I did it's like the Real Tooth Fairies movie. It was another
I
one.
worked on that one too.
Oh, really?
I
Oh, that's cool.
it was
Nick
Mad
used,
Max.
No shit.
Nick used to work over that studio.
Wow! Oh my god. Yeah. Okay. Funny story about that, real quick. So, Alpha and Omega, the original movie, was in theaters and it had like celebrities and stuff. Ben Diskin, who I mentioned earlier, many things. He's #1 and #2 on Kids Next Door and tons of other stuff. He voice matched Justin Long as the Humphrey, I think, the main dog.
Okay.
Yeah, he did him in all the direct-to-video sequels. And I found that out, and me and my friends were all like, "Dude, we want to work on some shitty direct-to-video sequels."
Awesome.
So
it's like
he
this
was
is
like,
the Land Before
he
Time.
was like, "All right." So well, no, I don't even know if Land Before Time
they're
is still
done.
happening.
They're done.
But he recommended us to Andrew, and then we started getting auditions. And then I and my friend Bosco, we worked. We were the 2 villains of the one that she just mentioned, and then a couple other friends of mine were in the following one, which was the final one, I think. it was like Alpha and Omega 7, and I'm like, wow, there's that many? Jesus, okay.
Oh, I did not know
So
that.
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It was really funny. So when they got picked up, basically what happened, it was going through Lionsgate, right?
Yeah.
So at the time, there was all these fans of Alpha and Omega online getting mad at Splash for saying, how dare you pick up Norm of the North instead of Alpha and Omega? And we're like, but we picked up like 3 straight-to-DVD movies for it. Like, why are you... And there's just all these like I want to say furries in like Eastern Europe just trolling our the YouTube pages for Splash. It was
Alright,
hilarious.
guys!
You did Doraemon?
No. What?
Why is that on there?
Let me see that.
see.
I didn't know. I didn't work on Doraemon.
Maybe you don't know you worked on Doraemon.
No, I definitely didn't. No, that's not... Is that my article? Hold on. Let me see.
That's your IMDb.
Sorry. No, I was not in Doraemon. That's
Uh-oh.
incorrect. Huh. I'm actually curious if there's any other stuff on there.
I checked my IMDb
What's this?
recently.
Your
They said I'm
name
like
for
an
Adventure
actor.
Time?
Yeah,
It's
totally.
okay, you're an actor on this
God,
podcast.
well.
There's actually someone made a short film, like I guess on Family of Newtons, and one of them happened to be Brian Newton. On my IMDb.
Wow.
I'm like, that's not me at
That's
all.
funny!
Oh, okay. Here's a little funny shout out. There's this one show I worked on that I also wrote the English dub script for. It was called World War Blue. It's the console wars as an anime, and all
Wow.
of the it's terrible.
Okay.
It's really bad. It was 3 episodes and then it was promptly canceled. It was based on like a webcomic, but I got to write the dub script, and originally we wanted to do it as like a parody because like nobody's gonna watch this.
Right, I love when
But
dubs
we
do
couldn't,
that.
which was fair enough. They was like, we would rather you not do that. I'm like, that's fine.
Sure.
But like every fucking line has a video game reference because it takes place from the perspective of the Sega.
Sega
So
versus
the
Super NES.
characters are the game franchises. So like the main guy is a Sonic guy, and there's like Phantasy Star Girl and Fantasy Zone Girl, and etc. And they're all Sega properties. And then the Nintendo Army or whatever is like so it's the Segwa Kingdom and the Nintendo Empire or
So
whatever.
it's like the Mario Art.
Yeah, there's Mario guy and
yeah.
you know Link guy. So I played the
Where's
Link.
Lindsay?
I played the Link parody character named Zellic. And I played him like the old Saturday morning Zelda cookie. Excuse me. And I literally said that in
I
the
was
show.
gonna ask about that.
Yeah, and I was like, what was the other one? I was like, now we're playing with power. Like every line was a stupid reference, and I put every like Sonic song lyric from all the adventure games and shit. Watch the dub just for like the idiocy of that.
Yeah.
And it's funny as hell. And also the guy who voices Dr. Eggman was the Mario character. And he did it with it because he's this big guy. This big.
You mean
like,
Eggman from that Sonic?
The current voice of
the
Eggman.
current
Like,
voice.
yeah,
Okay, cool.
he voiced
That's it.
the Mario like Marcus or whatever the fuck his
Funny.
name was.
Whatever.
Yeah, that was a silly show.
Alright, I think we have
What we
2
got
more
left?
questions.
Okay.
The 2.
And I think we're gonna have it cut off there.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna ask you one last question.
Sure.
Before we wrap up. Alex Giordano asked, how did it feel from just drawing Jishimatsu in your birthday
Nick, we
stream
need a translator.
to actually playing Choromatsu
Oh, so I guess. Oh yeah.
in the
So.
dub, and who will voice
Yami?
Liami?
Oh, I can't give any other casting news on anybody. That's not my place to do that. But what he's referring to is a couple years ago, I did a live stream on I think it was my, what year birthday was it for me? It was a couple years ago, but I did like a bunch of commissions. I was like, pay me and I'll draw you shit. And somebody commissioned me to draw one of the brothers from that show with the identical 6 twin brothers.
Oh, okay.
And he's the goofy, weird, silly one or whatever. And then, so I drew him, and then a couple years later, I started working on the series, and I play. My brother is the Kyle Broflowski of the 6 of them, where he's the God, you're all idiots. You're so dumb. I'm so much smarter than all of you, and I'm a better person, but I'm actually just as bad as all of you. That's my archetype in that. Yeah, it's fun. I love that show. I really hope people enjoy the dub when it comes out, and yeah, it's awesome. So.
I think, let's see, there was Waka Warner?
Okay.
Waka Warner asked, favorite Purd moment?
Purd?
So I play this character in OKKO named Purd, who was one of the many guys that I played in that. And the storyboard artists just love making, all he does is scream. He just screams everything. He's this little bird person but like or a person bird more
It's like,
so like
it's
that.
like Lemon Drop from
Yeah.
Adventure Time.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he just everything. He just screams full volume, and the
Oh.
fucking the artists just love putting him in episodes, just to have me come in and do something. There was an
I
episode.
like those characters.
There was an episode where Radicles, Ian's character, becomes like a viral meme. Like he does a video of him like doing like a face plant thing, and he goes blorp, and then it becomes like a big sensation. He gets super famous, and then they start a convention like just for him. It's like RadCon, and he goes as a guest. And he said, "Hey everybody, thanks for inviting me." Blah blah blah. And he said, "So we can take some questions from the audience." And my guy just like in this cold, dead, like giant audience of people just goes up and he says, "Say blorp!" So I did it, and I did it as obnoxious as that, like some like really weird, like obnoxious person in the middle of an audience at a convention, and like all the other cast around me were like, because I'm like, yeah, a little too real, right? I think we've all been there, right? And I had to deal with somebody like that. So that was a fun
my
one.
My favorite character that's kind of like that is from Soul Eater.
Oh, Excalibur.
Yeah, Excalibur.
Yeah. Yeah. That's Troy Baker. That's the
Oh,
guy. That's the
really?
guy from Last of Us. Come on, Ellie. We got it. That guy is Excalibur. Yeah, that was back when he did anime. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking back when people were making transitions.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love Excalibur.
So American cartoons step up from anime.
Yeah.
Probably just and we didn't really talk about this, like pay, union versus all
Oh
that.
god, I don't want to get into that
Alright.
shit. I don't care.
Politics.
Money's. I gotta pay my bills. That's all I give a shit about.
So I think we're gonna cap off on questions there because
Okay.
we've been going on long. If you have, Lindsay asked, how do you do all the things that you do? Do you not sleep?
No, you know what? No, I sleep.
Okay.
I really do. No, and like much like what I said before about like have a life.
Sleep. Please.
Yeah, you need it in order to function properly.
God's
Do
sake,
not. There's some
yeah.
people who are like, yeah, like I never sleep because I work so much. It's like that's nothing to brag about.
No,
Like, you
don't.
need to-
Just play. No, even like directors and things I work with who are always busy. I'm like, do you sleep? And they're just like, I'm like, please do that.
Yeah.
For the love of God.
Yeah, everyone will be like, thank you when you
Yeah.
do.
For real.
So I guess wrapping up the podcast, is there any biggest piece of advice you would like to tell anybody out there, any aspiring artist out there that you'd like to wrap this up with?
I haven't said this in a while. Make sure that what you're doing is your passion, and not for anything shallow. It's really easy to get caught up in, I want to be popular, I want to be respected, I want to whatever. Like, do it because you love doing it. And you might discover that, for better or worse, you might discover that the thing that you really, 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 really wish you could do, you're not amazing at. I discovered
Or it's
that.
not all that fun, right?
Yeah, or you don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Or, you might be pretty good at it, but to do it professionally, it might be not fun to do it that way. In which case, there's nothing wrong with just doing it as a hobby. You don't have to make it your entire life. I certainly don't wish upon people like, yeah, and then get a job and be unhappy behind a desk or something. Like, no, follow your dream, but be real. Like, be real with yourself. That's why I joked about, like, the I want to be a voiceactor.com thing as the litmus test. Like, you really have to ask yourself, like, do I really, really want to do this? Whatever it may be otherwise. Because, and then if you really want to do that, and that is the thing that you care about more than anything. I mean, I remember the woman who voiced Ash for the early seasons of Pokemon, she made this one comment at a lot of conventions about how, like, if there's anything else in life you could do other than being an actor, do that, because it's so hard. Be a doctor.
Be a doctor. Doctor's easier.
Yeah, I mean, but like, you know what I mean. But like
Yeah.
something where like you can make consistent money, maybe. But no, like follow your passion, but like really determine if like it is your passion. If you're not just getting into it for like selfish or shallow or wrong reasons, and if you have the dedication to follow through on it and really, really make that dream come true. So 'cause it's not easy, but if it truly is, if it means the world to you, you'll do it through hell or high water. So.
That's true. And then what are Brian's words of wisdom for today?
Well, one of the reasons I'm glad we had you on the podcast is that so far all the people we've had on the podcast have more quote-unquote traditional entryways into the industry. And like, you're the first person I know, or one of the people I know, who did it through like how we say it wasn't through necessarily school or college, but you went through like the Newgrounds and you
Yeah.
did your own stuff for a long time, and that's how you got promoted yourself essentially. So you were able to do your own cartoons, do your own like work, and do your own voice acting, which allowed you to like have all these different avenues. So I know for most of the interview you were like, well, I was having a hard time getting in the industry and I couldn't find work. And I was like, but you were making your own.
Yeah.
And that's a really tough thing to do.
It's another thing too. I mean, like I said about the school thing earlier. It's like I'm not gonna like, here's my diploma, give me a job. It's like they don't care.
They don't
like
care.
you know.
They care. Can you do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Oh, you just reminded me one other thing. I often say this too. To get to do anything in life, no matter what job it is, animation, acting, whatever. Not even entertainment stuff. There are only two things you have to be: good at what you do, and be a cool person.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're good at what you do. That's it.
That's-
If you're good at what you do, you get the job done.
I swear.
And
I
if
say
you're a
this
cool person to
every
be around,
Yeah.
then they'll want to be around
The
you.
third one is being, was it
Quit? No.
being on time or something?
Maybe.
Meeting
All right,
deadlines or
be
something?
punctual.
Yeah, being
Yeah.
punctual.
I think Dana introduced that.
Beautiful,
Punctual.
beautiful, gorgeous,
But,
punctual.
But I usually just keep it to
Puncture?
the puncture, as in poking people. Yeah, I usually just keep it to it too. It's like
be cool.
Yeah.
Be good at what you do
Mhm.
and poke people.
Right, because I've used the examples, like sometimes the best people are not super cool, and
Oh,
it kind
yeah.
of puts them right in the middle, and
Uh-huh.
then versus the opposite, someone who's super cool but not that great, and also puts them right in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's even better if you're both of those
Yes,
things. And
exactly.
they love you and you
Yeah.
become a
Yeah,
legend.
those people work a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They work consistently.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Like Brian.
Yeah. Don't be
Like
dick.
Brian. Like Brian. He's a cool guy and he's good at what he does.
Hey, Brian.
I'm being assaulted.
He's poking.
Asshole.
It's
Asshole.
three
That's
things.
a spin-off. We're gonna do the assault podcast.
That's where we talk about all the scandals in the animation industry.
Oh,
God,
Lord,
that would be
fun.
that would be a depressing podcast.
That would be depressing,
Jesus.
but man, that would get
Too
finished.
real.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you
Awareness.
for having me
Yeah,
on.
thanks
This
for
was so
being
cool.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I haven't done too many podcast interviews in a while, so this is always
And then,
a
like you
pleasure.
said, like everything that every chance that you get to talk to a camera or whatever, you can't talk about half the stuff that you're working on.
Well, I mean,
So-
I know there's stuff I can talk about. It's just
Yeah.
more of like, not everything, and
Yeah.
but
Is that one thing that's liberating about like working on your own project? Is that you can sort of talk about what you want to talk about?
yeah, I mean, often, with some stuff, I'm like, I don't want to spoil the story and things, so I can't talk about everything. But yeah, I mean, certainly being able to control what I can showcase is fun. So, but I guess other little plugs of anything. The Godzilla trilogy is on Netflix. Mob Psycho season 2 is supposed to be coming soon. Eventually. I was just on Sword Art recently. That just aired on Cartoon Network, on Adult Swim,
Oh.
and Toonami.
Did you know Sword Art?
What else? God.
Shows, watch dubs, watch Chris.
I'm in.
Look up Tone.
I'm in Shadowverse, which is a mobile game. A bunch of characters in that. I got some more video games coming out this year that I'm really excited about, and
All of his personal links, his Twitter, his YouTube channel, and his Facebook are all in the description of this video if you want to go and follow him. And check him
do
out.
it.
Do it! Subscribe!
Yeah.
Not
Like,
already,
share.
do it.
And if you want to see, the thing I'm most proud of that I created is Terrain of Magical Expertise. There's a web series. The whole playlist is Tome for short. The whole playlist of it is on my YouTube channel, and we're doing the video game now, which is its own separate continuity. It's based on it.
You will look back.
And we'll have all the update videos of that every month and everything. And yeah, so check that out. I'm very proud of it. And thanks.
Thank you,
Thank
Chris!
you.